Okay, g'day. Hi Lynn, how's it going? Thank you for putting the policy up. It should I hope it's still in the description. I've been having to put that back in every time it uploads. But anyway, welcome everybody to the Forbidden History Chronicles. You're here with Ninja Cat and Ninja Cat 111 and Dezert-Owl from the Forbidden History series. Sorry it's been so long. Juggling time zones, it's been a bit of a challenge getting it right, but we're here. Let there be light, and a big yay from Ninja. Just want to let you know the flowers on the introduction, they're from spring of 2017, and I've noticed a big difference. Like the old intro, they were from last spring of 2018, and I got as many pictures as I could, but I was always taking pictures of just one or two flowers, and these ones, the garden was Ganoon was absolutely beautiful. A big difference. The plants looked healthier, greener. And this year, they were really struggling. We didn't have half as much colour in the garden this year, and the leaves, they just didn't look as healthy. The colours were still brilliant, but yeah, just not as much, unfortunately. Yeah, so I'd like to welcome Dezert-Owl to the program. Do you want to say a quick hi, and then I'll read your introduction? Hi, Desert.
Hey, Ninja. Good to be back, and good hello to Lynn out there and everybody else.
Yeah, take his here. Take his here and your love. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, yeah, good hello to everybody, and so I'm looking forward to doing a special presentation today. Been hanging on to it for about a week or so, and didn't want to lose it because I've got a real description of the quality of character. I now have backup, so it's going to be a revelation on the true nature of Adam, and how he was the most astounding creation that walked on two legs of all the creations. He was a duplicate is the word I think that comes to mind. He was a type of Yeshua, but yet he was destined to fall, and this is part of the great mystery. So that's coming up next.
Yay! and wow, I can't wait. I've been looking forward to doing this again so much. Even though I'm a little out of practice, a little rusty.
I didn't notice.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm just trying to concentrate on not being nervous. Just be myself.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, we'll read your introduction. This was written for any new listeners. This was written by Dezert-Owl, and it's called The Signs of the Times. In essence, Desert discusses the history of the world and how the unseen hand has been running it from the very beginning of time, who they are, and how they have founded all of the first great civilizations that are found all around the world, about who the giants really were, and the ancient Aryan caste and slave systems, the priesthoods, the anti-gravity V-manners, the earth-based misnomered UFOs which are man-made, the control of all forms of communications, commerce, religion, mass media, pseudo-politics, etc. It is the grand deception that is used to control all of mankind, and all instituted through the three main religions of the world in particular, used as their grand cover. Their cyber code has been revealed to him because he has become adept within the study of the ancient alphabets, communications, symbolism, religion, custom, law, cosmology and mythology, not to mention the fallacy of today's political science and pseudoscience in particular. He can also define the true nature of their warfare, their shell game of bringing one civilization up for their temporary use and then taking it down for the next 500-year generational cycle, as symbolized by the classical phoenix. Desert can discuss the ultimate in mind control and ancient art, and the financial control, the secret societies and their blood occult rituals, and how they wage all wars throughout all time through the nations that they have created, which are all imaginations, plantations and mere corporations. They have taken blood oaths to surrender their self-will and mind to their blind goddess, who has demanded our blood from the very beginning of time. They communicate to their minions through the movies, TV and print media, while he can see, read and interpret most all of it. It all says that they are using us for our ingenuity, for our collective constructive labour, for experimentation, and in the end they intend to kill us all. They have given us full notice of what they are doing, what they fully intend to do, while all of the general population, the sheeple, they merely go there to be entertained. The New World Order is the Old World Order from the beginning of time. There is a major cosmic natural disaster that is about to happen on Earth, and they know it. But they are cleverly leaving us in the dark, hence the reason that they have built hundreds of underground bases all around the world, while they are leaving all of the people to remain unprepared, uninformed and above ground, so that when it comes, the mere 5% who will survive above ground will die from the weaknesses and disease that has been generated from all of the poisons that they have been feeding us, from the chemtrails to fluoride in the water to tainted vaccines, to fake food, etc., etc. They have enslaved us all by the clever means of deception, because we, most all, are their cattle, chattel, property, and because they merely wanted to harness our labour, what they always needed, which is what backs most of the world's currency through the birth certificate, but they are all through with us now. It is written in stone, as it can be seen written in the Georgia Guidestones. To know the truth is to be empowered and to be prepared. We may not be able to stop what has been done and what is about to happen, but the innocent and decent people on planet Earth deserve to know. Yes, they do. And welcome back, Dezert-Owl, again.
All right, Ninja, thank you. And certainly we welcome anybody that wants to ask questions. They can text me direct at my number, 608-566-7295. That's in the U.S., of course. It's a U.S. number, 608-566-7295. They could send in a text question, or you can get one on the chat board as well, of course. And we're always here to serve. Love to help anybody that's in any situation struggling. We always refer people to our friends if you're facing legal challenges or whatever. But we're a full service, so we don't have any money, but we do get it done on a song, a wing, and a prayer. And thanks to you and a few dedicated friends that we have that have been listening in and appreciate this work. We're about to ramp back up with my channel as well, and with the most significant and most important transliteration of scriptures in our modern time. It's not a boast or any kind of a brag. It's based on knowledge of the facts at hand.
It's just the way it is.
Has everything to do with the nature of words and the machinations of the games that they've played upon all of mankind. It said in Revelations that the beast system deceived the entire world. Well, what part of the entire world don't we get? That it has been engineered and going on for not hundreds of years, but thousands of years. The one world order. There is no new world order. It is a one world order, an old world order that has continually worked behind the scenes, controlling and manipulating mankind with the most supreme technology. They're the ones who are orchestrating all the anti-gravity craft flying through the skies. Got everybody going to the movies and buying into green men and aliens. So it's the grand deception. Yeah. We have to be able to put our thinking caps on and know that there is one entity that is absolutely, without question, involved in destroying our world, and it is man. Man is the problem, and it is the ego self that runs him. And so to identify the true nature of things is paramount in being able to be set free from the deception and to be set free from the self. It's a work. It's a constant effort, and if it were easy, everybody would be doing it. We have phony religion, phony translations, phonies on television, phony news reporters, phony weathermen. Everything is phony teachers. Education means to remove from your curriculum anything that would be relevant to your awareness. They put us under blind deception. Money is not money. Everybody talks about, well, it's going to cost about this much money, or they're taxing. There is no money. They got everybody to get on the ship and swap the deck. Labor is what makes everything go round. Labor, your labor, their labor, everybody's labor. If people would stop working for the beast, then they wouldn't be spraying the skies. If everybody stopped working for the beast, there wouldn't be any more weapons of destruction.
Yeah.
So it's the labor that makes things go round. Everything else is a digit on a page and means nothing. It's labor units. You got what you call $3 in your wallet. You got 3 labor units. You get the picture?
I do get the picture. I get the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That when we're born, they monetize their birth certificate. And they put $1 million of illusions, 1 million illusions into the currency stream based on the birth certificate. Probably today about 1.25 million illusory units. 1.25, what they call $1.25 million. And it doesn't exist other than in the mind and on paper. And what it means is the value of your labor that will be produced, your energy of over the next, so it's what makes the wheel go round. It's the grand illusion. So if we said, hey, well, you may have bonded my hide, but I'm not working for you, and just, and that's the wild card, because it's not easy when you're born into the matrix to separate from the matrix.
Yeah.
We're totally locked. We're locked in. And that's the great challenge, is to be set free from it. So the first thing to do is to be set free from the illusion. That's the first thing. And then after that, the answers will come. Just like this thing about sovereignty, because when I was a political activist, the big issue for the political activists, like here in America, the land of the free, which was supposed to be free, was the issue of sovereignty, and that we're sovereign. You can't touch me. I didn't do anything wrong. Therefore, you don't have a right to ask me questions or to pull me over, or all these other issues. And but the truth is, the absolute truth is, there's only one sovereignty. There's only one sovereignty, and that is to be sovereign with the sovereign. So there's only one sovereign, and that's the one who made the entire universe. He's the one who runs everything, and he allows, because he gave man free will, he allows for the things that they produce to go on. But there is an end, and there is a retribution for all of these wicked that do what they do. So there was a scripture that said in one of the lost writings that a true freeman is one who's free from sin. And that means sin is a code word for having your eyes closed. So when your eyes are no longer closed and they are open, then you can be set free. But you can only be sovereign with the sovereign, and that's in the Mashiach, that's within his body, the Moeshiach. So these are issues that took me a lifetime to get the picture of. The sovereignty issue just really came clear over the last several years, because it's like playing. Finally one day you get it. Say, there is no the sovereignty thing about I'm sovereign. You tell me how you're going to keep your soul alive and tell me you're sovereign, right? You're sovereign. Well, did you make yourself? I think everybody's going to the grave in short order. Tell me you're sovereign.
Yeah.
That means nothing.
Yeah.
You're a piece of dirt.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, we're made out. But that's the illusion again. You see, because hiding behind the dirt, behind the physical matter, the physical matter of creation is a spirit, and a spirit, more correctly, in the original thought, and it is what we really are at the essence. You walk into your house, and you don't say, "Hey, I'm the house. Isn't I great?" You're not the house, so you're not the body. You are a spirit, and your spirit is eternal, and you have to come to terms with what it will take to make your spirit live forever.
Yeah.
Because you were given an offer, and the offer is to wake up to who you really are and transcend this world of illusions. And you're already on the journey. So congratulations for being there.
Thank you. I'm still pinching myself, Desert. Lifetime of wondering, and talk about last minute. Yeah. But I had to take the long way round to get here, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it could have been worse. You could have been born in mediocrity and never have a shot at waking up. Everything's okay, no problems, right?
Yeah. I could have had a fantastic, luxurious life, and been completely blind, been completely in the darkness. And I think who I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about a certain family member when I say that. Although she wasn't born into it, she married into it. But anyway, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you could have been cursed and live your golden years out on the golf course playing 18 holes till you go to the grave. I think that's the ultimate curse.
Yeah. Oblivious. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so grateful I'm not a couch potato. I think that would be the ultimate curse, to be potato chips, watching Ozzie and Harriet or Lucy,
or the football,
and never knowing what creation is all about. You know, that would be a curse. So I'm very grateful. You know, the struggle is still to overcome this world. It's a long journey. That's why he gave us the example of 40 years in the wilderness, because we have to go through experience. We have to experience trauma and rejection and betrayal. You know, suffering. All these things give us a greater appreciation for our temporary nature in this world versus the eternal nature that is provided. This is the contrast between the atom, which is falsely called Eden, the house of light, which is the true paradisia where we fell from. We fell from the light, and so we look at the sun biologically, but we have to look at it the way the ancients looked at it. It was the logo. It was the symbol. They didn't have a telescope and electronic satellites to get pictures of of the sunspot and all these other things that we have today. So we're looking at the sun wrong. The sun is a house, and it is the house of all the solar system, other than the gaseous orbs, because I think the gaseous orbs came in from out. But all the planets and the moons that we see within our solar system came out from the sun, and it is the house of creation. It is in the beginning. And when I do the transliteration, I will correct all the wrong translations in the first two verses. You know, where it says where the earth was without form and void. That's not the correct translation. It is the earth was not yet formed within the void. You see? Because then then the third verse says, "Let there be light." But of course, you know what's interesting? It never our scriptures never mention the sun for the first 15 chapters. You think something wrong with that?
I think so, let there be light and no mention of the sun. Yep.
Yeah, only the light. So it talks about light in an abstract form. But what it really said was, let the Azor appear, and the Azor appeared, and that was the sun, the alpha, that was his first, and then it said, and there was the Zoreh, and so the Azor becomes the Zoreh, the light. The Azor is the sun, and the Zoreh is the light. And you see, there's two aspects. Therefore, one is the generator, and one is the product. And so this is what's been removed from our scriptures, because the occult who are in the dark and worship Lucifer, symbolized as the moon, hate the great logo of the sun, because it's antithetical to their dark nature, right?
It's just baffling. Like when you point these things out, like how can people just not see it? I mean, I didn't see it, but I'm no false Bible scholar. But I do know the basic story that's been told to us. And I didn't see that. Like, let there be light. Where does light come from? It's obvious. And it takes someone to point it out to be able to see it, because of all the deception and programming. Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yet they carry a book around that tells them to go spell, and they never get the picture of the word, right? Go spell, gospel.
Wow.
They're telling them, go spell, go spell, go spell, go spell. Don't you get it, idiot? Go spell. They never go spell. You see, because they're put under the spell of spelling. That they were educated. The education, the indoctrination, the presto magico, the hands flashing in the air before their eyes, putting them under the alpha state of mind control. You know, they never. You know, it's called a logo. In the beginning, in the Greek, it says it's a logo. They don't even get the idea of what's a logo. They hear about it all their life. You know what a logo? Everybody knows what a logo is, but when they read it in the scripture, they get lost. The logo, you know?
Yeah.
They never talk about what a logo is. A logo is a symbol, and the symbol. What? If you were the one who made the universe, what would be your symbol other than the sun, a star?
Yeah.
No better symbol
Exactly.
you have.
the thing that created the light in the first place.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a great mystery, but that's all that. See that when you can look at it the way you know just analyze it is the fact that you can see how powerful the spelling is, that they put us under the spell of the indoctrination, and so we are absolutely. The movie Matrix describes perfectly our dilemma, and they were telling truth in that movie, but it was a dual sword. It was, you know, Neo was the good guy, but he was also the bad guy. He represented the Jesuit, and so there's a double play in everything they do, even like the Speaker in the House. And every January, when the president makes his new State of the Union address, when you think he's talking to the people, just listen to the words, and if you know the double speak, you'll know what he's saying. Subliminally, he's giving a heads up to his masters, telling them the program's on, boss. Don't worry, I'm gonna say it. Yes, sir. You know, program on.
Yeah.
And change, and they use the code word change all the time because that's the change they're giving us. That's what's left in your pocket after they stole everything from you, including your mind. You know, a little bit of change. So anyway, before we get into the discovery of the true nature of Adam today, I wanted to just do a little reading out of the Dictionary of Scriptures and Myths,
cool,
by Gaskell, and it's on the ascension of Yeshua, and the second definition is ascension of Osiris, and I want to just show how there's a parallel, you know, in the other traditions that parallels with our story of transcendence as well. So, anything else before I start reading on Ninja?
I was thinking, actually, now that you mention it, or since you asked, when you were talking about the solar system and the gas planets, how you think they came from somewhere else. The gas planets are Saturn and Jupiter, and they're the ones that the deceivers are focused upon most of the time. Saturn representing Satan and the cube, and Jupiter is always, I don't know, in mainstream news with some new explosion happening on it, or I just found that interesting. Yeah, you just made me think of that. Yeah,
it is. The negative nature implying that they didn't come from our light, from our source, but came from an outside source, foreign from the light. And that's a good observation. And if you look at the energy of the planets on a you know how you can get a chart that shows you the planets lined up next to each other from the sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, you know, the planets going out, you'll notice that the gaseous orbs are in the middle of the chain, and they're the biggest pearls. Like if they were a necklace of pearls, the biggest pearls in the middle are the gaseous orbs, and they're bigger than all the other smaller planets on both sides.
Yeah.
And so it has something to do with, you know, some type of cosmic energy that's going on within this relationship, but it's typical pattern of energy, you know, that we see in nature as well. So it's like it's revealing an algorithm, but they all have something to do as being a magnetic energy, and then also some other type of unseen metaphysical energy. They certainly may have a very important role to play with life on Earth itself, you know.
Wow.
And, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah. So I'm just painting a mental picture in my head as you speak about that. Yeah, I could see what you were saying. Yeah.
Called subtle energy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay.
So we're on the and again, if anybody has a comment or question, just put my name in all capital letters on the board, and I'll be glad to, after I get done with the read here, address any comments or questions, and then we'll get on with the, you know, we'll take a break probably, then we'll do the story about Adam and reveal a little bit more about how I'm no longer the only one who got the picture of this amazing archetype character of the Aryan race, Adam, and what he was all about. So I'll be going into the scriptures for anybody who wants to be ready for that, into Ezekiel. I think it's around chapter 28, somewhere around there. And then also in another commentary that I have that's absolutely mind-blowing. And of course the serpent, we'll talk about the serpent because that was him. And people take things literally and they never get the picture of the symbol, what it really means. So coming up next on the Forbidden History Chronicles, the Vinci Cat. So right now we're on the ascension of Yeshua, Jesus, Jesus. I don't even want to use that word ever again now after I know the real meaning of it. That was that. They have to go listen to your other last issue. I think it was on, or the one before it. I think it was your last issue.
With the us, with the US, the us. Is that what you're referring to with Jesus? With
When I revealed the name of Jesus, just have us. Anyway, they can go to your last issue from this one, and they can.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it in the last two actually, because you were talking about what Australia really means, and you brought it up again because I'd forgotten.
Yeah. Because
so the last
studied the etymologies of the Indo-Germanic, that everything is. Reading it now, the two letter symbols are definite words. Even the single letters are words. They're multiple words in each letter. This is where it all begins. And this is how we've been tricked because we don't know how to read. And so there we go again, go spell. We have to learn what these root meanings are because these occultists are playing with us. They're playing on it. And so they know what it means. They know that they gave us Jesus, which is a type of Zeus, but it's not even Zeus. Zeus. The only compound there is the US at the end of it, but the S in front of the U creates a new word, Zeus. And so that's where they need to go and listen to your other program. Ascension of Yeshua, a symbol of the union of the Christ soul, the Moeshiach soul, with the Moeshiach. That is the shul or soul of lower self, Yeshua, having been perfected on the lower planes and raised to the higher, becomes merged in the higher self, seated in the casual body of the higher mental plane. Let me just give myself a little more light here. Did you get that picture of the serpent for halftime going?
I did indeed. Does it? It's all good to go.
We'll be in for a treat then, huh?
Yeah.
We'll be in for a treat.
Yeah.
Perfect opener for this discussion on Adam. All right. And Yeshua led them out until they were over against Bethany. And he lifted up his hands and endowed and enlightened them. And it came to pass when he had endowed and enlightened them, he parted from them and was carried up into the throne of the sun. And they paid homage unto him and returned to Yeru Shalom with great joy of enlightenment and were continually in the temple in lifting up in the creation Yahweh. Luke 24:50-53. The Moshiach soul, the Christ soul, is the highest ideal led, as it were, the disciplined qualities to the level of the abode of the Yahweh, our healer and sunrise, where their affection for the highest enabled him to endow and enlighten and strengthen those in need. And as they aspired, they became aware of their shortcomings, and so lost sight of the Mashiach soul as he disappeared in the Christ, in the Mashiach, in the clouds of the great mystery. But the divine love was not parted from the qualities which were attached to him. The parting was only visual when he was taken up into the clouds, into the throne of the sun. They had to continue their work and walk on the lower planes, having been endowed and enlightened by his presence. He would return to them as soon as they were able to receive him, talking about the spirit now, the Isha spirit. For they were only shut off from him, inasmuch as their limitations were necessary for the fulfilling of their special work. So being shut off from him means from the physical aspect, because he is Isha spirit, his spirit. The worshiping signifies the devotion and the aspiration of those qualities which were awaiting union with the highest. The temple in the mind, the higher reaches, typifies the veiled mysteries of the inner being, before whose presence they bowed in adoration, mindful of the illumination which awaited them. There's something more to receive. The ascension with which the drama terminates is that of the entire Eshan, falsely called man, now regenerate to his own celestial royal domain within himself, the sacred temple, where made one with the Esha spirit, the spirit, he takes, or the ruach, he takes his seat forever at the right hand, which means by the power of the great Father of light. And this is a quote from The Perfect Way. I come again. New quote. I come again, and Yeshua will receive you unto myself. Oh, I'll try this again. I come again, breathe Yeshua, and will receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you will be as well. Interpret that promise as being for today. Interpret it spiritually. And you have what it was meant to impart. Our dear and great Elohim and healer, pure breather of light, is always coming. That's right here. Remember how I talk about the coming? Once he rose from the dead, the coming continues. And here somebody else, I got some backup here. I can't get over it. And our dear healer in sunrise is always coming. Just like the sun rises every day, right? He's always coming, because when somebody's ready, then he comes to them, you see, in the spirit.
Yeah.
In the same manner. I'm sorry?
Sorry, I'm just agreeing. I'm saying yes. Yeah.
In the same manner as we have seen him go in the clouds, the great mystery. The cloud of new and harsher conditions has veiled him from your sight for a time. But he has not really gone. He has but called you upward, bidding you to aspire, that means to go up, through those very conditions to the place he has prepared for you in the everlasting royal domain. And he will come back to you with a greater fullness of life and power when you can receive him again with the heart of a little child. R.J. Campbell, sermon, Christ going and returning. This Campbell has some quotes in here that are just absolutely outstanding. I got to do research on him one day, find out who he is. It looks like he's from the 1800s, and he's got quotes throughout this book, and it's just, the preachers back then are so different than the ones today. The ones today are just, definitely beasts, greedy money beasts. So the next one is Ascension of Osiris, a symbol of the rising of the lower self to become one with the higher self. I'm always amazed, just to regress a minute, at these preachers. You know, they get their $50,000 a year pension, or $100,000 a year, or some $1 million. They get their fine automobiles and their house, everything covered, and then they don't ever reveal any of this stuff, do they, Ninja? They just talk about
they don't.
You know, prosperity religion. You know, you give and you're going to get, brother. You know, give the more money you give, the more money you're going to get. Oh, it's a money scam then. It's a Ponzi scheme, huh? Okay. I thought it was about coming to awakening and to consciousness and to knowledge of the higher order, right? They don't ever talk about that. That's the thing we need to take note of. It's not about illumination. We don't see knowledge being presented in these Sunday arenas. Just rhetoric and a form of socialism being preached.
Yeah, it's that's why I always stayed away from religion. It didn't feel right. I saw contradictions, hypocrisy, and blind faith. Just accept, like people saying, just, you know, it's like, just accept. And it was almost like people were pretending that they could, pretending they were having a relationship with, I don't like saying this word either, but to stay in context, pretending they were communicating with God and having a relationship with God. It just all seemed, it seemed fake looking from the outside. Yeah, I just all the contradictions in religion, I just couldn't see how somebody could have a real connection with Yeshua doing it that way.
Yeah. And being a guy, when I was young and was hitchhiking across America or hitchhiking to school, because I started hitchhiking at like age 12, and I picked up on the fact that something must be wrong. They call this a Christian nation, where 80% of the people go to Sunday church, whatever version they like, and then it comes down to I'll stick my thumb out on the highway and about 1,000 cars will pass me before one will stop and pick me up, and I'm just a kid. You know, I was as a kid, and so you think a parent would say, "Hey, kid, get off the road, kid. Get in my car. Where are you going? You know, and give me a ride where I want to go."
Yeah.
But like 1,000 cars would pass me, and I'd say, "Man, something's got to be wrong. And how can all these people be calling themselves Christians and nobody wants to give me a ride?" You know?
Yeah.
So those simple little things got me going very early on in my years. Nobody was talking to me, but I was thinking.
Yeah, that's it.
My parents weren't talking.
Yeah, I was thinking more than same. I agree with you. Yeah, I went through the same thing. Yeah.
So I had my experience. My experiences were very relevant to my journey. Being I was alone, my parents didn't care about me. I just stuck out my thumb and I go places, right, and do things, and I was learning while I was going, and that's part of the story. So continuing on here in Ascension of Osiris, now we just read Ascension of Yeshua, Jesus. Now Ascension of Osiris. This is from the Mitzrayim culture, falsely called Egypt, and Osiris is the archetype of the Savior. He's the Savior of the Mitzrayimians. And Meitzar, the Mother Star. Oh, geez. I mean, their logo was the same as our logo, the Mother Star, Meitzar. And that's why they don't want us to use the word Meitzar, and they give us the word Egypt, because it tells the story, and they knew somebody figured it out like me. Mm-hmm. And so, Ascension of Osiris, a symbol of the rising of lower self to become one with the higher self. He who is in the picture in the invisible form of Horus, there's your word for hours, is the thick darkness. image of Osiris, which Shu, as there's a reformer for Shul, Yeshua, Shulma,
Wow.
which Shu lifted up beneath the sky, talking about the sun. And Kibur, sounds like Kirub, probably is the red cherry beams that lift up the sun, comes forth in the earth, in his image, comes forth from beneath the earth, in his image, it should say. That's from Budge, Egypt, Heaven, and Hell, Volume 1. The entity depicted as Horus is the Osiris-fied soul, perfected and ascending from the lower planes, darkness, in the night of the Tuat. As the cycle Tuat closes, the Osiris-fied soul becomes lost in the Osiris. That is, the perfected lower self becomes one with the higher self, the sun rising. That's when Yeshua rose from the dead, on the fourth day, when the sun rose. And that was the new age that he ushered in, the age of golden light. And so that, to do it again, the Osiris-fied soul becomes lost in the Osiris, in the light of the sun. That is, the perfected lower self becomes one with the higher self in the casual body. The sun is called the soul. You have a soul, and that is your mind. Your head represents a star. Doesn't it turn? It turns, the pivots, right? Your head, it's like, what do you want to call it? The sculling. The skull means to steer, to turn. And that's why it's called the skull, because it turns. It's not what it is, it's what it does. And so it represents a star, therefore. And these are the pictures we need to have in order to go back. The reason we read like this part here of Osiris is because we need to be able to see how they saw and to get an idea of how they communicated, how they talked, because this is the original thought, and this is what was based upon pictures, and this is what has been stolen from us, right?
Right.
Okay.
You made me think also of the saying, the eyes are the window to the soul.
There you go.
Yeah.
They're the most important symbols on our entire body, the eye.
Yeah.
Because they reflect the sun and the moon, and the vesicle Pisces also, meaning the two worlds coming together in the dark and the light. So the eyes are and Yeshua said to focus them. If you see double, because that's symbolic again. We can be looking at two things. I like to look at this, but I'm going to look at that. When we know that we should only be looking at one thing, and Yeshua said to focus, and you will see clearly. You take your two eyes and you make them one, right?
Thank you. I needed to hear that, actually.
Oh, good. Okay.
Thank you.
So we all need to hear that, and so because life is diverting us. Life is continually pulling us away. It's like Yeshua also said, you can't ride two horses.
Yeah, wanting us to look in the other direction, distractions. Yeah.
Or somebody who's put their hand on the plow and is looking back is not worthy of the kingdom. So you put your hand to the plow, you look forward. Otherwise, you're not going to plow the field very well. It's going to go zigzag,
Yeah.
And you'll end up face down in the mud.
Yeah.
Okay, so continuing, the divine will, Shu, raises the personality, Kebur, which has been developed from the lower nature, Earth. I found it interesting that Kebur sounds like character, so I put my note there. The picture, the end of the Tuat, which is represented by the semicircular wall or border formed of Earth. At the middle point of the border is the disk of the sun, which is about to rise. And joined to it is the head of the image of Shu. That's the image of knowledge, which would have to be light, with his arms stretched out along the rounded border of the Tuat. Above his head is the beetle, symbol of Kefer. Sounds like Kefa, the word for Peter, also. Who has emerged from the boat. Oh, there you go. The emerged from the boat. Kefer, follow me. And this emerged from the boat of the sun god. And below is the image of the Af. That is to say, the body of the night. Oh, that's after. The Af. The body of the night, the sun god, which has been cast away. A little more into that, I can't. I have to read that a few times to get a better picture of that. The beetle, of course, was sacred because it walks on water. So the beetle was symbolic, of the higher life, and they were called the scarab also.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. Yeah.
And that's why they called the musical group the Beatles, because it's symbolic. Of course, these occultists we're going to use the Beatles to standardize and take to the highest level possible rock and roll. And so the Beatles were used with MI6, British intelligence, and they were called the Beatles, therefore, because they wanted to give them a sacred scarab name. And so continuing, this symbolical picture exactly describes the ascension of Horus into Osiris, or Jesus into Christ, or Yeshua into the Moeshiach. The future period indicated. So when I describe, people might say, how come you're talking about Horus and Osiris? Well, I want to ask them, how come you're talking about Jesus and Christ? Right? You see the parallel?
Yes, I do. That's why I'm giggling. Yep.
And Krishna, Zeus and Krishna, what's going on here?
Yep.
Not to mention now, So this is what, and when I said pig snout, it's because what Jesus actually means, we talked about it earlier. Jesus means ye pig snout. Okay?
Yeah.
Ye pig snout. And so that's what the occultists gave to us for our pure tradition. And if we follow a pure tradition, then we would want to breathe from a pure consciousness the original terms, which is Yeshua. Most correctly, I say Yeshua. I find the middle ground, but it's Yeshulim Ba. Yeshulim Ba means the knowledge of the serpent that goes round. That means everything. That means we know what it is, what it was, and what it will be, and what it can be, what it's not. We know. Yeshulim Ba, the knowledge that goes round. And the knowledge of the serpent in particular. Remember that Malay Shaul put the serpent on the cross, and he was told to go around the camp, and if they could see the serpent, they could be healed. So we have to see what the serpent is. And it is our body, the shirt pants. We put shirt pants on every day. Nobody gets the picture. They can't read. They can't spell. And then the fact that everything is serpent, because it's an illusion. It's temporary. It's a temporary world that we are in to get the picture of the real purpose, not to play games, not to get computer games, and not to go play baseball and sports and lounge around. It's about going to work and figuring out our dilemma, because our lives are important. Who we are and what we have the potential to be is significant. Now that we have a beginning, there is no end to our being. Our being was made. We have to deal with it, and we have to find a way back. And the road has been paved and made clear for us. But a few psychopathic, blood drinking, child raping occultists have decided they're going to throw some diversions in our path, hoping that we won't be able to find the way. And they've done a pretty good job working night and day overtime for hundreds of thousands of years to perfect their art. And there ain't no way that we're going to passively, as a periodic pastime, going to get the answers that we need. He says he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. I'm hitting it nonstop, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm still not there yet.
Yeah.
Still not. I'm not where I want to be yet. And because I know the truth, and so the more truth you know, the more it should drive you, because it's imperative. There's an offer. We're being made an offer to have an abundant life, but it's the life within, not without. We will always have to deal with the challenges of this world and of society, but within is what He wants to transform. And when the marriage, which is what is referred to as a marriage, receiving the Spirit, when He finally comes to you, because you are ready to receive Him, then a transformation occurs. That's what He said to Kefe. You know, you're going to deny me tonight 3 times. You've been following me for 3 years. You've been my close friend. You've seen all the great work I do. You're going to deny me 3 times tonight, but it's okay. I wanted you to know that's okay, because you haven't. But when you are transformed, feed my sheep. So they weren't transformed yet. They were still learning. We have to learn a few things before we can be transformed. And then the transformation is the marriage. That's when they all, over 100 of them, received the breath in one moment in Yeru'eh Shalom, because it was the final action that was going to occur in the sacred, what was once a sacred city. The final action to fulfill the intention of what Yeru'eh Shalom was supposed to symbolize as a house of the sun, a citadel of light. And so they received the light there, but then after that, Yeru'eh Shalom was irrelevant. It was just a piece of dirt with a bunch of dirt running it. And that's it, Babylonian Talmud, you know, Talmud. So back to the story of Osiris. Let me see, where were we going here? Which has been cast. Okay, so I'll back up here. So below the image of the okay, I read that. So this symbolical picture. Did you want to jump in on
No, I was just. Oh God, you just amaze me. I love how you can just go off on a sidetrack and make so much sense, and then go straight back to where you were. Yep.
I'll lose track for a while. You're bobbing, I can tell. Okay. So this symbolical picture exactly describes the ascension of Horus into Osiris, or Yeshua, or I said Jesus into Christ, or Yeshua into the Moeshiach. The future period indicated is the end of the cycle, the termination of the 12th hour of the Tuat, just before the sunrise. The black sun disk represents the unapparent higher self, the unapparent higher self, the unapparent higher self, Osiris. It rises from the cycle through Shu. Again, that's Shu is knowledge. And there's, you hear the word owl, and there's the ul is the owl, and that's in all the primitive terms that we see, but they've been corrupted with the U. The letter U takes away the 2 O's. That's how they corrupt it. It rises from the cycle through the Shu, the divine will. So it rises from the cycle through knowledge is what it means. Through knowledge, the divine will. The divine will is that you know. The beetle, Keter, which Keter, as we see in Peter, misnomered as Peter, actually Kefe, some say Kefa, but it's Kefe, means the K means the fiery keys of the woman. The fiery keys of the woman mean woman is the creation, the virgin light that comes down, and so the beetle Keter. So you can learn that you can walk on water if you have these fiery keys. The keys of what? The keys to the doors of eternity. The keys of knowledge, right? The keys of discipline and of positive action. The keys of the truth. And that's what it's all about. That's why then when they embraced Peter, they gave him a false name, took away Kete, and changed our scriptures and gave the word Peter. And then we see those keys, even though they changed his name to Peter, which means father, not rock, the father, Pater, you see behind the Pope the keys. There's those keys right on the wall. Just like Yeshua said to the Talmudic priest in Jerusalem, you have the keys of eternal life, and you're not letting anybody in, nor are you going yourself. You see? They got the keys. They're jingling them right in front of our face. Ha, ha, ha. But you're not going.
Wow.
Right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So the beetle kefe, the fiery keys of the faith, signifies the indwelling self, Horus, ready now to rise up from the lower nature, earth, and to become united with the self of Sirius in the casual body, image of Shu, the image of knowledge, the image of the light, the image of the sun. So you rose up because you had those keys. Now the lower self, Kefer Horus, the hours of darkness, the horror, you hear in Horus, horror, having become perfected and resurrected, discards the personality, the image of us. It has worked through for so long. The image, therefore, lies as a corpse at the end of the cycle, but it is depicted as embalmed. It has a large X cross marked upon it. This means that the personality has been perfected at the crucifixion and therefore dies to be reborn spiritually as Horus in the new life. The image of Shu has neither body nor lower limbs because he's spirit. Yeshua is spirit. There's Shu right there. Thus signifying that the individuality in the casual body no longer puts forth personalities, because we all become Yeshua, is the point. To occupy bodies of the lower planes, we don't put on the individuality in the casual body, no longer puts forth personality to occupy bodies of the lower planes. Why? Because we put on the nature, the quality, the discipline, the stoic nature of the Mashiach. We are transformed in our being. We become Him. After the crucifixion, arms outstretched, looking up, the shul has ceased to possess any lower nature. Verily, which means it is truth at all time. I say unto you, Kefe, when you were young, you dressed yourself and walked where you wanted. But when you will be old, you will stretch forth your hand, and another will gird you and carry you where you would not. Now this he spake, signifying by what manner of death he should illuminate Yahweh. Honor would be the right word. Honor Yahweh. That's John 21:18 and 19. As Kefe, Peter, means the lower mind or lower personality. That's why, it's ironic we could find that, that he had, these weaknesses that we see perhaps within ourselves.
Yeah.
And yet he would be the one chosen to be the leader because Yeshua wanted us to know, I don't care how bad you think you are or how, inadequate you feel that you are. I will make you the leader. I can make you the leader, and the leader is the servant, of course, not somebody important, but the one who will serve others in this great mystery. So, as Kefe means the lower mind or personality. Well, Peter, now he's setting Peter here, and maybe it is Peter in this literal sense because Kefe has another allusion to it. So I'll just read it this way. As Peter means the lower mind or lower personality, the symbolism precisely corresponds with the swathing of the mummy of Ra. Peter's arms are girded to his body, signifying inactivity of the personality. Through the withdrawal of spirit, another. But being perfected, he by dying honors Yahweh, who is also the great Elohim. Truly, hereby is declared the fate of the lower personality, when the lower mind, Kefe Peter, is undeveloped, young, is a law unto itself, and it directs the outer activities of the soul according to its will, right? That's that free will. Gotta go do this, gotta go do that. Don't have any time, sorry. But when, and I'll just back up because I had to interject, so let me try this again. Truly hereby, let me just cough, hang on.
Okay.
Thank you. Truly hereby is, and then we'll be ready for a break after you want to interject anything. Truly hereby is declared the fate of the lower personality, the lower character. When the lower mind, Peter, excuse me, is undeveloped, young. I've lost my development here in my speaking. Let me get a sip. All right, hang on. Sorry about that.
You good? You good, Desert?
I'm there.
Almost there.
There.
Almost there.
Right. Truly hereby is declared the fate of the lower character or personality. When the lower mind, Peter, is undeveloped, young, it is a law unto itself. Free will. And it directs the outer activities of the soul according to its will. But when it is perfected at the end of the cycle, then another, the indwelling self, the spiritual ego, becomes supreme over it. Spiritual ego, okay? Supreme over it and reduces it to impotence. The personality is permitted no longer any directive action, self-directive action, and so it yields up its life, being, as it were, crucified in matter, with head or mind directed upwards. The death of the lower mind signifies the perfecting of the soul, or the honoring of Yahweh. And when we talked about in matter with the head or mind downwards, we could then talk about the upside down cross that Peter represented, because he was crucified upside down. And so he was inspired by the Spirit, obviously, to do that. And so there we have the ascension of Osiris. It's an archetype, perfected character type of Yeshua, or falsely called Jesus in our Eastern spiritual tradition. Jesus is a Western concoction of the Roman Empire and the Vatican. So we have to see and read things for itself, of course, and some people don't want to work at this effort. They want somebody to just tell them everything's okay, honey. You're going to be saved. Don't worry about it. Just say Jesus loves you. Yes, I know. And you'll be okay. Okay, sure. So they'll never work. They'll never figure anything out. They'll never transcend in the end. And they lie to themselves. The people want to be deceived. They find it easier not to have to put forth an effort. Oh, you mean I'm already saved? Well, Father, I got my indulgences, right? I gave you $50. You gave me the paper. I'm going to heaven no matter what I do, right? Sure, my son. God bless you.
Oh, you just made me think of two things, and then we'll go to the chat, if that's okay with you. What you said just then, God bless you. I've been noticing, and I know it's not a typo because I'm looking at the keyboard now and the two letters are at opposite ends of the keyboard. A lot of people say in comments on YouTube, blessings to you spelt with an I instead of an E in blessings, and that's bliss, that's blessings, and and that is part of the agenda, like the parallel with the the New Age stuff, the false light, and bliss is associated with that. And I saw on the TV the other day an episode of Charmed. The entire world was put under a spell, and it was like bliss. They were all happy, and there was severe punishments if you spoke about certain things, like anything negative, or violence, or if you used your mobile phone in a restricted area where you weren't allowed to use your phone, you'd get your hand cut off, and you'd be happy about it because you accepted that was the consequence, and everybody was overly happy. And that was like, I saw that as predictive programming for this ascension New Age agenda. Like, I'm just seeing all these parallels and connections and stuff, Desert. Yeah. And the bliss in the comments, the blissings just
You mean in our comments today?
No, just in general comments around YouTube. It was actually a sky watching channel, which makes me think of something else. We talk about focusing inwards because that's what we need to do to connect with Yeshua. Sky watching is focusing outwards, and people are saying blessings in comment sections on sky watching channels, and saying beautiful sky, and they love the light and the holographic angel shapes that they see in the sky. And it's just, I could go on and on and on. It's all part of the New Age deception. Yeah.
Well, we can continually be spellbound because the phenomena that's happening on our planet right now has never been in our lifetime, and so we're all captured by it.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, I'm guilty of that too. Like, I still film the sky. Even I've said I'm quitting it so many times, and yeah.
But in simple terms, we could say it can't save you. So we can look up when we go outside. We can look up and or watch a YouTube that shows phenomena that happens. I still do it, but I do it only on a limited basis.
I'm restricting
have one or two
myself.
channels that I look at, and that's. But I don't. There was a while there I was just looking at everything.
Yeah.
Because I was wanting to figure it out, but at one point you have to be able to figure it out to the degree where then okay, now I get it. All right, and then you don't give it much more of your time because there is no time.
Yeah. And
the
sky's dangerous. Like I've been affected by the energies, the frequencies in the sky. I've been affected personally from focusing on that too much.
We're not supposed to be out in the sun anymore because we're being bombarded by UVB and UVC radiation, and it's killer.
Yeah, it's dangerous. So we need to focus inwards and connect with Yeshua, because there's not much time left.
It's the time to go in the cave.
Yeah.
This is the time to go in the cave.
Yeah, and I've forgotten my other question or statement or whatever it was, so I'll come back to it if I remember it.
You may remember it on the way back.
I'll go into the chat. I see capital letters. Just want to say hi to Lydia. Lydia has joined us, and she says hello to you as well. Sorry, hi to you.
Hi, Lydia in Dublin. Is that right? Lydia in Dublin, right?
I know there's Liz from Dublin.
Dublin. So Lydia, okay. Hi, Lydia. I remember Lydia.
Yeah. Lydia's been in your streams often. Yeah.
Well, I'm confused with the place names now, but anyway, Lydia, thank you for dropping in. And we're going to have a rhythm now, and so we got a new time, and so we're here in People have all that information on the break, then which I don't want to talk. So
yeah. All good. Can I go to some questions? Some capital letters?
Oh, yeah. If you have a couple questions, we don't want to make people wait. We can do that first before we break.
Yeah. Lydia had one, and Lynn answered it, but I have a question from Lydia's question. I'll just read it. Lydia says, Desert, may I ask why no one calls Yeshua ISIS, or is it ISSAS? That's the question. And Lynn said the spelling Yeshua means may his name be blotted out forever. But I'm curious about this ISSAS. Is it just another way of saying ISIS, or is this a different thing?
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want me to read the question again?
I'm pondering.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, I remember Lydia now. I hope you got moved okay, Lydia. It's I've been away from my channel for a while, so things get good, but good to have you. Well, yeah, Yeshua, by the way, just with the S or the E, Yeshuah, comes out of the Babylonian Talmud. I want to add that first because it's Yahshua, Yahshua. The A is primary because it's the symbol of light. The A is first alpha in the alphabet, and but the AE is a corruption coming out of Babylonian Talmud, and it means may his name be blotted out forever. So they got everyone in the Jewish Messianic movement that wanted to be saved to spew out Yeshua, which means may his name be blotted out forever. But as far as I'm not sure about the connection with that other word with Yeshua, because
Lydia's corrected it. It's not the way I pronounced it. It's E. It sounds like ESSAS. Emphasis on the E. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I can't comment on that word that I haven't seen before. But ISIS, it sounds like a type of ISIS, and that's the woman. And so it is relative to Jesus, because in the sense of Zeus, he was in the original scriptures, like the King James, it was Isus. There was no J. They didn't use the Y. It was the
okay.
I.
Yep, I get that. Yep.
Isus. So there's a parallel there. So in other words, what Jesus represents, we're talking about the false character now, not the true Savior, but the false, occultic, pagan deity, parallel with Zeus, but he's known as the hidden woman. And so in the character of a male, what we call Isus, we hear the word Isis, which goes back to Mezar, Egypt, and we get the picture that it's the hidden woman. It's their goddess, represented in the clothing of a male, the hidden woman.
Cool.
You see? And that's parallel with like Santa Claus. Santa is feminine, women. If it's a man, it's San Francisco, it's San Jose, but if it's a woman, it's Santa Maria, Santa Monica, Santa Claus. Feminine, right?
Yeah.
So we got this bad guy with the red suit stained in blood going around everywhere, ho-ho-hoing, and it's a hidden woman. Did they call?
Yep. Lady in Red. Yeah. Lucy.
Playing their games on us. Ho-ho-ho.
Yeah. And there's one more lot of capital letters. Lynn says let there be light in capitals, so I just thought I'd say that. Also...
Okay. Let them be Zoré. Lynn, that's the original Zoré. The power of that illumination coming down.
How do you spell that? Sorry about that word. How do you...
one T, Zoray.
Okay.
Zoré.
Okay.
Yeah.
Zoré. Okay, and Take has a question. Does it say... Yeah. Does it say in Scripture how the body functions?
how the body functions.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's plenty of allusions to it, but it doesn't specifically go into that arena, because we're talking biology now. So there's lots of metaphors and expressions that refer to the body. You know, like the bowels of compassion, or the heart. You know, the implication of the heart being the center of the solar, the sun, or just like the mind. You know, the terms again that they've corrupted would more clearly define our biology if they were not corrupted. But this is part of what I'm working on in the original thought, because there are like our body. I did a presentation. I was going to do it a few months ago, and I never did it. But I did it 5 years ago or 6 years ago. I think I did it privately on a conference call with some friends. I never did it on my broadcast, but it was called The Cosmic Man and Woman. And so everything that we name our body has meaning. There's somewhere the word came from. And I like the one, it sounds so scientific, varicose veins. That's on your ankles when you have the blue veins come right through the skin.
Yeah.
Right? And some people don't like it because, they think it's not pretty, because you see all those veins. And so get the picture. It's not varicose, it's not some medical term. It's very close veins. Very close.
Okay.
You see? Sounds very medical until you get the picture. Very close. And so that's how they do it. It's like your toe is your tau, because at the end, the tau is the letter at the end of the alphabet, the T. And so we would never forget. That's why they call it your toe, your tau. Your mind. The D is a corruption. They put a D on the word for mind. It's not the mind. The D for death and destruction. That's what they did to it. But it's the mind. The mind is where you go with the candlelight and you go dig for the gold or the silver or the ore that you are looking for, the gem. The mind shaft, the A shaft. The A shaft is the sheep that is meditating, just being peaceful, meditating, chewing some grass, and the universe is opening up for it. Got his clothing already put on. Doesn't even need to put clothing on because he's already clothed in light. Clothed in light. The tongue, where tongue is tonke, for tone, the ketone, tonke. So the ketones come out of your mouth. Lip is L-I-P-H or L-Y-P-H, so you see the word life is in the lip. Cheek is check, because when they killed you on the battlefield, if they wanted to make sure you're dead, they just punched you, put their sword to your cheek, and they knew if you were still pretending to be dead and you were alive, and once they put the sword to your cheek, you're gonna move. But if you're dead, you're not moving, because that's why they check you with the cheek. Check. Tooth is truth, because whenever you got a toothache, that's the moment of truth, right? Did you do something wrong? Why you in so much pain? The way that the primitive mind would think, right?
Yeah.
That, they're suffering, so it must be the truth. They're not in the truth. That's the way primitive would think.
I think there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
Anything
Well,
negative,
a moment
like
of truth when you're in pain, toothaches are the worst thing practically ever.
Yeah, but you do something wrong and you do suffer. Like anything negative has an effect on your body. It causes physical pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so literally the word hand is a corruption. The D doesn't belong on hand. Again, just like the mind, it's the mind. So the hand is the hand with no D on it. And so it's spelled H-A-N-N, but the H is the word the. And so it's really the an. And we hear the word N, the letter N in there, because it is about that which came down from above, from the light. But the hand, H-A-N-N, the an. And an is the prime root of the word harvest. So literally what we do with our hands is we harvest. It means to harvest. What you do with your hands is your harvest. You go to work every day, you bring home the paycheck on Friday. you are harvesting. So whatever you do with your hands is a harvest of pleasure or activity, or work, right? So yeah, I could do a presentation one day on the body. Maybe I will.
Cool. It's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting. It's because it's so simple the way they've the words, like the way they've named things, the body parts. It's yeah.
And I'll give one more.
Okay.
The nose is the nose where we get the word gnosis, because the gnosis, the breath was not breathed into the mouth of Adam, because in the ancient tradition it said that Yahweh would not want to take credit for the things that would come out of our mouth, so he breathed the gnosis up through his nostrils, the nose trail, into the conscious mind, and so the gnosis was breathed through the nose, and so therefore he could not be blamed for anything that came out of our mouth, because he breathed through our nostrils, and so the gnosis. So there's nose, and there's a whole lot more, but that's just an example. I hope I helped to answer a question for Teresa a little bit there.
I think you did. Lydia
it wasn't
also.
The right answer, but it was at least.
It was a good one. Yeah. Lydia also says, this isn't a question, but I just want to pass it on anyway. She hopes you'll fix your computer soon. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm almost there. I have a couple technical things I'm working on. One of them is I can't get into my channel, so everybody can pray for me so I can get back into my channel. I lost the password, and I'm working on that. I've got several things I got to do. So otherwise, I do have a backup channel. I may have to make a new one. So if they're done that, then I can do it again. So one way or another.
Yeah.
All right.
I just remembered the other thing when you were speaking, and then I'll let you rest your throat, if that's okay with you, Desert. You were talking about religion, and how you put it so well. I'm just trying to think of the words. How you don't ask questions. You can do anything you want. All that conversation, and you'll still get saved. Just all that. And I was thinking.
What do you mean, the false narrative?
Yeah, the false. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Nobody can take your salvation from you. Right?
Yeah. You're talking about that.
Even though Paul said, make your calling and election sure, because he said that that even he commented that he could be lost if he did not follow a discipline.
Yeah.
That it was all about discipline.
Yeah.
And that if you let your discipline go, then you could lose. And even Hebrews talks about that, saying that it was impossible that for somebody to have received the Spirit and then to have turned away from that high estate that they were in, and to go back into perdition, that it would be impossible for them to receive the Spirit again. So it's clearly defined over and over several times in our scriptures that it's possible to be saved and then to lose your soul salvation. That's why he doesn't give his Spirit to anybody. You have to go through the trial by fire first, and because you will be tested. And then it says that, and those who overcome the 40 years in the wilderness, or the trial by fire, or the persecution by a police state or by family, whichever the trial or test you're going through, that when you rise above it, when you learn to walk on water, then he will come to you, because you can't be in the mud and receive the Spirit. You have to be walking on the pure water of eternity, the waters of eternity, symbolic of walking in the cosmic waters.
Yeah.
Having transcended this world, no longer is any of this nonsense relevant for you, because it's all diversion.
Yeah.
Then you can have an experience. So I elaborated a little to help you, but I hope you didn't lose your thought again.
No, I've still got it. It's okay. What you were saying fits with what I'm about to say anyway. Um, um, yeah, and people go into churches and they they bow their heads. When I'm going to say I'm going to say it in context. People go into church and they bow their heads and they pray to God. I'm still a newbie, but as you know, I managed to stay in prayer for an entire day the other day because I had to, and yeah, I'm amazed. I'm amazed. Like, it was very challenging having to focus and do that, but I'm amazed at the results, and I'm amazed that Yeshua assisted with me being able to stay in prayer so that I could ask for his help. Anyway, people bow their heads inside churches, following false religions. When I create light, even if I'm not, even if I'm not speaking, if I'm just sitting there, quietly concentrating on my breathing and just I feel like I'm saying the wrong words when I say just praying in my head. The deep breathing automatically lifts my head upwards, not down. And even when I'm saying things out loud, when I'm creating light, I don't look down, I look up, and it's just feels natural. And things that you've been saying tonight, that makes total sense to me. Like, it makes total sense to look up, for that to be automatic reflex, because that's where the light is. It just made. Did I explain that right?
Well, that's good. It's like when I meditate and I might sit up in bed and I fold things, and so. But remember, the light is above. The light is a spark is within, and the light is all around us. So wherever we're turned, the light is everywhere. So it's symbolic what you're saying, and therefore that's good, because it's relative for you. And whereas maybe me, because my journey's been so long and drawn out, and I wanted what I'm getting now, I wanted 40 years ago. Maybe my looking down is another symbolism, because it's been a struggle, and but I'm looking within. That's the important part. We're looking up, we're looking within, and we just have to be consistent, in that algorithm, because it says a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways, and therefore it's not possible to receive from Yahweh or Yeshua when we are not focused. And so that's the key. And the diversions have to be shut off, somehow. Otherwise, it's death, and it means more problems.
Yeah.
So that we'll have to go through. We'll have to learn more lessons, and I'm tired of learning lessons.
So am I. I don't want to have to go through it all again. Being so close. Like, at this moment. Yeah.
And because the time is so bad and Yeshua knows it, we can capitalize on that drama of our planet. The fact that that's the incentive. We already know that the psychopaths have destroyed our world. There's nothing here to hold on to. Nothing. So my saying has been, since I came into this political arena 30 years ago, is, the fire is good. Because the fire shows us that this is not our world. It's not. Never was. We bought into it. We like the pizza and the Coke and the entertainment and the, you know, the dance that it brought us. But it was, I never liked dancing that much, but maybe that's why. But I like slow dancing, but you know. Anyway,
I still love.
I was a rock and roller too. I did that.
I still love it. Yeah, all the clubbing and the dancing part was my favourite.
Yeah. I tried all the drugs, you know.
So did I.
I was young.
Yeah, all the pretty flashy lights and loved it.
Yeah, and it was hard to want to, you know, psychologically just wanted, you know, to give up like marijuana because we take these things because they make you feel good. For me, it was, you know, I didn't want to be a part of this world. I wanted to separate.
It's an escape.
The drug causes you to escape, right?
Yeah.
And so marijuana being a very passive and actually far safer and healthier than alcohol. You know, and I used to be able to build houses, do construction and build because I can focus when I smoke a little, but you can't do that with alcohol, you know. So, and I'm not promoting anything here. We're just people talking.
We're just chatting.
And, but for my point was that because, and so the one thing that I liked was the simplicity of, you know, the marijuana in a world that was not mine and that was sick. And I'm talking about you know, way in the past. That it was my escape, but I knew that I had to give that up too.
Yeah.
Because in other words, it's a type of transcendence in that it allows you to escape, but it's not the transcendence. It is not the so therefore it's a dead end.
Yeah, it's false.
You know.
Yeah.
In other words, and it does serve as a medicine. I'm not downplaying it for any medicinal use, and that would include if you're in pain and smoking it helps you. I'm not telling anybody not to do it or don't do it. I'm talking for myself.
Yeah, I agree. I can't touch it either, but I agree.
And when I had it, I wouldn't stop until it was gone because I didn't want to come back. So, so I, you know, and I would, you know, do it that way. And so the point is, I knew I even had to give up those kind of pleasures because it was a diversion. In other words, it served the purpose at the time when I was younger when I needed it. It was okay. But knowing the truth and coming to the higher level that we have to put all things in their proper place, it does not provide transcendence. Sort of the story that comes to mind is the story about the woman at the well. She's putting her pitcher in, blowing up the water. We all want to drink the water from the well. It tastes good, it's refreshing, and we need it, and it's deep. But Yeshua says, hey, I can give you water. That when a well of water that when you drink from it, you will never thirst again. You know, and so that's the water I want. That I will never thirst again.
Yeah.
And so, or never be hungry again. The food, the true munah, the true manna. And so when we know the truth, we then have to we have to draw a line and say, okay, this is where I want to be. And so then I have to give these things up in order to be in the higher truth, because I can't take these things with me. I'm only lying to myself, fooling myself in this drama. Right?
Right. I agree. Yep.
Yeah. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge to give up and food is probably one of the biggest challenges for people. And then of course other things. It's all but knowing again the same thing about the food. I read about that today. In fact, the symbolism of the food, that it was symbolic of taking in the higher food. Everything that we do on the lower plane is symbolic of what we do on the higher plane.
That makes sense.
So we just put things in perspective, in discipline. Ice cream is okay, but we don't take ice cream every day, right? We just do it everything in moderation, and we don't leave off the other things, that we also have to consider, such as fasting and getting alone. All of these things are important on the spiritual journey. Anyway, we rolled a long time now, so I think we went down through 5 side trails and 2 dead ends. So are we good?
break, or are we just having a break?
We'll take a break, and we'll see where we are when we get back. I'm going to rest my throat. You've got a 7-minute thing, and you give out the information.
Yeah. I'll give out the information. I'll give out the information when we come back. Give you a few more minutes.
Yeah. Okay. And certainly, we don't want to go more than 5 or 7 minutes. So you know what I'm saying. Just
yeah. Oh,
it's like fine, right?
It's like 6 minutes 57 seconds, I think.
All right. Well, that's okay. People need a break. Then we'll come back. All right. And I'll see what we got.
Okay.
Adam. Okay. What they never knew about Adam, but they always wanted to know. He wasn't just some naked, stupid kid. He was the star ram. And so I'll see how much voice I got left, but I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
Okay? All
right. See you on the other side. All right, guys, we're just going to go to a quick break. Check out the new pictures. Some of them are pretty cool, especially the serpent one. And we'll be right back.
o'clock for online conference. 3, to record the conference. 4, increase.
Okay, welcome back. Sorry about the lengthy break. I haven't mastered making a cup of coffee within 7 minutes yet, but I'll get there. Practice. Before we move on with the second part of the program, Lydia, I just asked Desert if he knew, and he doesn't, so I apologise. We don't know who created the flute music, but it's pretty cool. Anyway, for any new listeners out there, you're listening to the Forbidden History Chronicles with Ninja Cat 111 and Dezert-Owl from the Forbidden History series YouTube channel. I highly recommend you go over to his channel. The link is in the description on all of my live streams. We're streaming from my channel at the moment. It's Desert has had technical difficulties. He can't access his channel. He's just had to get a new computer and get it all set up. And so I recommend you go over to his channel and go back to June 21st last year, 2018. That's will help you get a better understanding of where we're at now with the transliteration and making history, Desert. And that brings me to, there's also details, my email there. You can contact Desert through me, or you can contact Desert directly on 608-566-7295. That's 608-566-7295. Add a +1 at the start if you're international, calling international. Also, we welcome any size donation towards the transliteration project. It is in the works, and it is the most important transliterational project of all time. So any size donation, any donations are welcome. That will also get you a copy of the real Da Vinci Code, Etymological Dictionary, and there's also a sample copy of the Book of Wisdom with the dictionary attached. And no, actually, I got that wrong. Sorry, it's been a while. The original Gospel has the dictionary attached. Anyway, and there's also the Book of Wisdom, all available on PDF. Any questions, just email me, or you can call Desert directly. If you don't have any money to donate towards the project and you would like copies of the PDFs, just let us know and we will get them to you anyway. They're handy. It's handy to have the dictionary in front of you while listening to the live streams. It helps to see the bigger picture. Okay, I think, and also where to donate. Desert's website is called www.therealpublicradio.net. That's www.therealpublicradio.net, all one word. Details are in the description on this live stream as well, and you just go to the website and hit the donate button and follow the steps. Okay, welcome back, Desert. I'm all talked out, so I'll let you talk for a little while.
Alright, Ninja. Well, I just put some raw honey in my mouth. So
Okay. Yeah, I'm coincidentally having a cup of coffee with honey in it. Yeah.
I did not see. Anyway, back to the.
Yeah, you don't have to talk with your mouth full if you don't want to.
I don't want to go with this honey in my mouth right now, but.
Yeah, I'll keep going on about coffee for a while if you want.
You're going to do a coffee commercial? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I don't even know the brand.
It's almost melted in my mouth. Hang on.
Oh, it's actually.
My throat. You know, we hadn't done this for about a week and a half, and I'm.
Yeah, I could hear. Yeah, I could hear your throat going. Way before the break, actually, but then you came good.
I'm going to do this in two parts because I'm wearing down, and so I'm going to give the one source where I found the picture of Adam and what he represents in this presentation by Ezekiel, and then on Sunday I'll give further account of this saga of what has been stolen from us, this legacy of
Well, we've been going for 2
the,
hours. We've been going for 2 hours, so that's pretty good since we've been off for a week and a half.
yeah,
So.
the star
Yeah.
round.
Yeah.
Yeah. And very good. And did you tell anybody real quick about that picture of the snake that you put on the
I did.
computer?
It's up.
Okay.
It just went on the screen just then. Yeah, the snake.
Right.
Like it's on a loop. Yeah.
Right. So somebody's trying to tell us something then, right?
Yes. Yeah. Where did that come from? I know it was out of one of
Well, it comes
one
out
of
of the
you.
Book of the Dead. It comes out of the Mazarine Book of the Dead.
Wow.
And it is pointing out that we are the serpent.
Yeah.
That was the whole.
Yeah. I think it's amazing.
So it was in the wilderness with Moshe Wu, and it was in Mazar, and everybody puts on the shirt and the pants every day. The shirt pants is dressed every day, looking good to go, but nobody can get the real meaning of what that serpent is. So that's a great mystery. So
yeah.
So we're in Ezekiel, and we're in chapter 28 of the book of Ezekiel, and I'm going to start at the beginning. I found the real powerful part in 13 through 19, verses 13 through 19, but I'm going to lead into it because the lead-in is just as important. And so, because we're given a picture that Adam is, or both Adam and Eve, well, we're talking about Adam specifically, so I'll stay with him. That he's just, some naked guy with no intelligence at all. He's stupid, and he needs to get dressed. And so, the fact, of course, that he is naked in this lower garden, not the Eden, which is the throne of the sun, where all things came from, this metaphysical paradise that we fell from. But he's being naked is symbolic of there is something that we all have to put on, not clothing, but the great breath of the wind and fire, the Holy Spirit. And so they had to wake up also to their true nature. And the true nature was that all of a sudden they realized, wait a minute, we're not like all the other creatures here. We're different, and I think we need to put something on because I'm not feeling very comfortable all of a sudden. And so this is the story of, their what's called carnal knowledge or conscious self-awareness, where they then realize, okay, we're of a higher order. We're not animals, and therefore we need to, put something on. And then putting something on symbolically has everything to do with putting on the great breath of the Father, because we are not of this world. And in order to escape this world, we have to have Him breathe something into us. And so if we read in our scriptures, I'll just lead into this read by referring to our book of Genesis, and in there it talks about the fact that the first, before anything else was made on earth, anything, there was only the oceans and the land, and so you can imagine the chaos that was still occurring on the the volcanoes going off and all this, and He's made, and then it says He's taken up and placed into Eden. And this is all literally found within our first 3 chapters of Genesis, 3 or 4. I'm not looking at it, so I'm doing it off the top of my head. And then it says that the Elohim, because it doesn't refer to Him as Yeshua, but of course we know the great Elohim is Yeshua. He's the one who made all things. He's the one that conquered the serpent, conquered the flesh, and then rose from the dead. And it said all power was given unto Him on the earth and in the universe. And of course He had all power in the earth and universe from the beginning. But when He was here in the flesh, He was tested as an Asham, as a man. So that was His test. He had to conquer the flesh as well. But so His spirit, like our spirit, came down into this lower world, but the difference was with Him, as it says in the scriptures, that He received the Spirit without limitation, and so that was the one distinction that He had. But He suffered. Nonetheless, He suffered just as we did, and was tested just as we are. So Adam then becomes a type of Christ in that he is the a type, a duplicate creation, an image of the great logo, an image of the great logo, but not the great logo. And so when he's made, it says that he was placed into Eden in the atom. And so he's there as a spirit with Yeshua while he's forming all life on earth, while all creation is coming into being. And it says that he wanted to see what Adam would call everything that was being created. And so then it says, then Adam fell asleep, and he was placed in the garden. And the day I saw that, it was just like 4 or 5 years ago. I read these scriptures over and over, and it's amazing how we don't ever really see it clearly. Whether I saw it sooner than that, it escapes me, so I'm going to only say about 5 years ago. And but I suddenly, wait a minute. You mean, wait a minute, there's 2 gardens, right? There's the Eden, and then he's placed into the garden where he's standing naked. You see? And so that's the distinction. And it was, how did I miss that? And so, and it's, the reason I missed it, and the reason we all miss it, is because it's so been corrupted by the priesthood. It's there, and at the same time, it's not coherent. And therefore, because it's not coherent, we read right past it and never got the picture. And so there are 2 gardens, and the first garden is the light. We can't describe it. We can't define it. We can't, because we're not there. We don't remember ever being there. If it's and apparently it is where we all came from. We only woke up in this lower garden, and so it says that he fell asleep, and he was placed into this lower garden. He woke up, and that's when he saw Eve. But his coming into this garden was the falling asleep. You see, that was the falling asleep, coming from where he was into this eternal realm where, he didn't have to eat food, obviously, and just like we know that Yeshua is constantly awake, constantly serving, never sleeps, so Adam comes down, and when he comes down into the lower garden, he falls asleep because he's in a lower dimension, and then in this awakening to this lower dimension, he sees his other half. His other half is in worse shape than him, because he knew. She didn't know anything. She's waking up for the first time, and he knew that for the last 3.5 billion years he was up there with Yeshua while he's making all things on earth, all the evolution of the history of the planet that is undeniable. Somebody has to close their eyes real hard and tell me that the geological references in our planet don't speak about the age of the earth, let alone the archaeological finds of all the different civilizations that existed, not just starting with the Aryan race 10,000 years ago, but the other races that were obviously here prior, other races of giants as well, other races of Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal, talking 30,000, 40,000, maybe 100,000, maybe a million, maybe more. Maybe processions we're not even aware of anymore, that could have occurred. And to me, it was because Yeshua was I think, if I try to rationalize what was going on, and I know I get the picture of why the Aryan race had to come last, because they were here to bring a message. The Aryan race was to bring a message to the rest of mankind. The African, the Asian, who are not Asian, but they're called Asian, and the other races, was to bring the message of our divine origin, our divine nature. That's what the book is all about. But I don't lose my thought now. The fact that he comes down, I was going somewhere now. Let me just gather my thoughts. As you know, Ninja, nobody else is making this presentation, and it's a deep one. We're talking about the history of our planet. That it's undeniable that whereas according to our scriptures, because each day was a great period, and the great period of each day, as we read in our scriptures, is about 1 billion years. And it's interesting that the Mayan calendar confirms that. It was Ian Zell-Lungold, and another who was an artist, and another scientist out of Scandinavia, both prepared notes, and then they unlocked the mystery of the Mayan calendar. And it also talked about the 6 billion year timeline. And each different day, according to the original scriptures, is an age. And even Fraud Fenton got it, because he calls them great periods. Fenton got it. So, and he's the genius. He's the one who read nothing but Greek and Hebrew for 40 years, never read an English version, because he didn't want to be prejudiced or corrupted or influenced. And he read the ancient scriptures, and he defined them better than anybody. So it is great periods, and these periods are because we look at life and we see life has evolved. We see the fossilized records. There's no denying it. This is what people can't begin to talk about because they're under the spell, or they would be afraid to talk about because of the ridicule that would be imposed upon them by mainstream, brainwashed, narrow-minded, bigoted Christians, in particular, because they've been prejudiced, they've been indoctrinated, and when you're indoctrinated, it's like being inoculated. You can't get it out of your body.
Yeah.
And so it's but I think that for those of you who have been following the broadcast, all of your names that I've known for so long now, with the exception of a few who have come recently, you all apparently got the picture that you could see these things. I've talked to some of you on the side, and you know these things are true. You knew in your heart that the earth was old. Not even these Illuminatis who are running the universities and the documentaries that we see all the time on our television. They even whittled it down some more. From when the Aryan got here about 8,000 or 10,000 years ago, to saying that the Earth is only still only 6,000 years old, even from today. Forget the 6,000 years till the time when Yeshua comes to save mankind, but the additional 2,000 years that we've been here since Yeshua had victory of light, rose from the dead, came back the second time. The second coming was the rising from the dead, and he comes back now as spirit when somebody's ready to receive him. They've actually reconfigured it one more time, readjusted our brains, and got us all to think that we've only been here for 5,000 or 6,000 years.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
With all the things that are around us. So I didn't want to belabor that, but I always have to qualify it for any new listener, because without giving it a little bit of foundation, it's elusive. And so I hope I gave enough for people to be able to look at. They say that if you look at one more example, that the Grand Canyon is a mile deep. I've been there 3 times. I slept on the rim a couple times, and I took a twin-engine airplane ride through the entire canyon. And what a spectacular place that is. And I got a book when I was there, and it talked about the timeline. And it says if you took the age of the Earth, and remember I don't need to go to that point, but the age of the Earth, is we see as a recorded record in the side wall of the canyon. And they said that if you took the biological geological record that we see in the face of the wall going a mile down, and we see the bottom, we know the bottom is the oldest, obviously. And if we took the timeline that we see in that 1 mile wall, and we then reckon it as a 24-hour day. And you may have heard me say this before, because I think you've heard me say this, talk about this presentation before.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit. Yeah, it sounds familiar. And there's a question in the chat as well about this subject.
All right. Well, so the question is, if the 1 mile deep wall in the Grand Canyon represents the time that the Earth has been here in a 24-hour clock.
Yeah.
You know the answer then. How long has man been here in that 24-hour clock?
No, you
don't know the answer?
I can't think right now, Desert. I'm in listening mode. It's like 10 to 4
a.m. You don't remember.
I don't remember. I just remember you. I remember you talking about it like being the rings of a tree, and that's how you can tell the age. And yeah.
Okay, so if we say that man has been here for 24 hours.
Yes.
In the timeline, in the 1 mile deep canyon wall, and it represents a 24-hour day, man has been here for only 1 second.
That's exactly what Lynn just wrote in the chat. Thank you, Lynn.
All right, 1 second. Thank you, Lynn. She's always on top of this stuff.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
She can predict. She can predict what you're about to say. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Forgive me for slurping on the phone, but I didn't mean to do that.
Okay.
I needed some more hot stuff for my throat.
Okay. Well, can I say this?
So I just wanted to qualify. What?
Sorry. Can I say this question before you get
Oh, sure. Let's do
on
that.
a roll again? Sorry. Sorry. Getting a bit giggly. Lydia says, question, by the old calendar, do we still, there's a typo, by the old calendar, are we still in 2018 or have we crossed into 2019? I think we'd still be in 2018 going by. Anyway, you can answer that because it's for you.
The question really is, does anybody really know what time it is, and does anybody really care?
I'm getting to the point where I don't really care, actually.
well, because we know we've been lied to about everything, we can't rely on the fact that we're in what is officially 2018 or 2019 because the trickery is so great. It says that they would change times and seasons. So if they've changed times and seasons, then it can't possibly be the true time, but it's another one of their little trickeries, trickery-dickery dots that they played on us, and so it doesn't really matter anymore.
So how do we know how... I know we can't predict the future, but knowing the lies makes it easier to see what's going to happen and sort of estimate. So how do we know how long we have left if time is irrelevant?
Well, if we have come into the body of Yeshua through the operation of soul novation, and now are in Him with a covenant relationship where He is now our teacher, and we are eating the fruit of the tree of His tree of knowledge, and are seeking His light. Then when we have entered into His body through the waters of purification, through the stargate of Alba-Bethesering, which is the correct terminology for baptism, Alba-Bethesering. You'll get the dictionary one day, and we'll have all these spellings down for you. Then we are no longer in time. Our relationship in this world has changed. We've gone from the natural to the supernatural realm.
Okay.
And therefore, it is called the day without end.
Okay, so
is it not true
it's
that
not
both
necessary.
Time, I'm sorry, what?
So then it doesn't matter. It's not necessary to keep track of timelines. Yeah.
Well, there are two worlds here right now.
Yeah.
There is both the eternal world and the illusory world.
Yeah.
And so both time and eternity exist at this very moment. Is that not true?
That is true. That is, wow.
Time will always go on, right? There is no end to time, right?
Yeah.
And so the only relationship we have with time is the illusions of the earth spinning, the moon going around, and the sun going around.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
So that's an illusion.
Yeah.
That is the matrix of the lower world. But the truth is, we are eternal beings, and it is a day that never ends. And so there's where we want to be, because the other is the mechanism to control us. Right?
Yeah. Wow.
You got to do this now. You don't do this now.
Yeah.
And so since they control the time mechanism, just like, I don't know if they do it down under, but up here,
Probably.
They decided in the wintertime, they turn the clock back an hour, fall back, and then springtime, spring ahead.
That's why we have 16 hours difference at the moment. It started, when I first started listening to your streams, it was 14, and then we changed and it was 15, and then you changed and it was 16.
Yeah. Well, there's no real need to do that, you see, but they want to keep us in confusion, and it messes up our own clock inside of us. Yeah. Anything to disrupt it, especially when they knew that this cosmic stuff was going to go on.
Yeah.
They definitely wanted to play adjustments with the ability, because they knew that if the days were longer than it's supposed to be. They could turn it sooner, turn the clock back sooner, or turn the clock back later. They had that flexibility, but it was all in preparation for the cosmic events that were coming upon us, you know?
Yeah, I can see that, because even the adjustments are upside down, opposite. They're wrong. Why would you want to extend the length of a day in the middle, like in summer? In summer, it's hot. You don't want the days longer. You want it to get dark earlier and cool down sooner, and you want the light to last longer in winter, because the days are shorter and it's colder, and it's just backwards. I've never seen the sense in that. I've never seen the sense, and now I get it. So yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, they got to control everything.
Yeah.
You know, they do. Everything's insane that they do.
Yeah.
But there is a reason for everything they do, and it's to control us. So let's move forward now from the fact that we are a very ancient universe, and of course the Father, being that He always was and always will be, is in no hurry to do anything. Boy, have I learned that in my own life situation. But certainly the fact that He's been maintaining and developing the universe over easily 6 billion years, it shows how great He really is, how patient He really must be, how in no hurry to do anything He is. You know, just like the old axiom that says, you know, a lie will race around the world while truth is slowly putting on its tennis shoes.
Yeah, you know? I love that saying. Yeah.
Yeah, the truth is in no hurry, because the truth stands by itself. Doesn't need the support, you know?
Yeah.
And but the lie, everybody gets, you know, every time the new sensational thing on the internet, right? Everybody immediately, hey, did you hear about, well, look, you know, and they all bought into it, never even poked holes in it or thought that carried any weight, and they immediately go for it because they've got to have some new sensational thing to follow, you know? And so I'm so, it was a long time to get away from that. It was hard to get away from that because it's a preoccupation, and but the only reality we have is within Yeshua, and so we have to define the world according to His nature and the things that He will show us within the relationship that we develop with Him, and through the reading of the Word. Okay, so we're going to read some Word now, and of course all the translations are bad because they were controlled by the priesthood, and they're filled with reversals and outright lies and deception. But it's okay. It doesn't mean your scriptures cannot bring you to transcendence nor to Yeshua, because Yeshua is the revealer. Therefore, He will allow you to see through the scriptures, to see the deeper meanings, or even the reversals, or the problems, because there are major problems within our scriptures that nobody apparently is talking about other than me. And we have to talk about them if we are to correct the problem, because they did change times and seasons, and they changed their scriptures, they changed the words, they changed it all.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to reveal here the story about Adam that nobody's talking about, and that is clearly evident once we have been able to know the original story, because it is about the original story, and in the Aryan race, who was the one who fell? It was Adam, right? But of course he's not being blamed in the story. He's not even being blamed in the story because nobody gets that. Well, first of all, let's talk about the word serpent. When I looked up in the Strong's Concordance under the word serpent for that particular story, it didn't have the serpent; it had naga.
Okay.
And naga is nothing other than an abbreviation of Nagesha, and Nagesha is nothing other than an abbreviation of Nagesha Tor, and Nagesha Tor is nothing other than an archaic version of the modern word navigator.
Yeah.
And navigator, and by implication, hyphenated, star navigator, and that is the original word that was corrupted then into the word prophet, because everybody wanted to make a prophet from the good book. In their little preaching practices, where they deceive everybody and get you to put the money in the till, not once, but twice in every service. You know, you think that you know how much money you want to put in the first time. They're going to pass it around twice because you're stupid, and you're going to put more money in there, slave, aren't you? You didn't put enough in, slave. Put some more money in there, you know? And so the prophet, you're into it for the prophet, but the original word was navigator, star navigator. Because who else but Adam, who was up in the throne of the sun for 3.5 billion years while Yeshua brought life, all life together on earth through all the processions and all the, you know, the events that occurred. And then the last one to come on the scene after all of creation had been here. And he comes less than 10,000 years ago, 8,000 years ago, perhaps. He finally comes. He's coming with a message about our eternal being. He is a type of Christ, but he does not have the ability to be. Matter is antithetical and in contrast with spirit. It is against spirit. And therefore, matter by itself is the fall. Matter is mother, and that's why she gets the woman gets the bad rap. I'll give another example of how the Strong's is lying to us. Our scriptures is lying. Like, go just look up the word lot. You know, it's not, you got your Strong's Concordance can help you to convert the Hebrew letter into the modern English. It's right there in the book. It's no mystery. It tells you what, you know, A is alpha, Aleph is alpha, you know, and you know, it's all there. And so when I looked up the word lot, well, geez, in the Strong's Concordance, his name is not Lot, it's Lotan. So how come they're so big about lying that they can't even put Lot's name in there, and they had to shorten it and abbreviate it, right? From Lotan to Lot. Is it maybe because the word Lotan sounds too much like Latin? Probably so.
Makes me think of
Probably.
lotus. Lotus.
Well,
Lotus
yeah, there's a
flower.
lot going on there. You see,
Yeah.
it's a mystery. And we're talking about mystery religions.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And so they lie about everything. So they lied about the name of Adam. It's dictum. There's the word for sound, dictate, dictum, diction. Okay, Dick is in the Strong's, while Adam is in our received scriptures. Eve is in our received scriptures, and Kai is in the Strong's Concordance. It's Kaiba. I thought it was Kaiba, but I know now it's K. They corrupted the K into the Kai, but it's Kaiba. And there's the word primary for cave. If we silence the A at the end, it's cave, which is also the word give, gave, forgive. And all these elements are in there. You see, so there's so much more to the story. And what we got instead was a Dick and Jane reader, run, spot, run.
Yeah.
Pop, see, spot. Aren't they having fun? You know? And that's about all people will ever get out of it and never get any higher thinking going on, because they can't interpret the words. They don't even know they're being lied to. And they go to their services every, 45 minutes for a week and have religion. Jesus loves you, yes I know, for the Bible tells you so. You're already saying, go home, my son. Do whatever you want to do. Do as thou wilt, as they say in Freemasonry. Do as thou wilt. Situation ethics. Whatever feels right, do it. But it won't give you eternal life. It's the lies. The Luciferians lie. The Lucifer are the men who wear dresses. The men who wear dresses in the occultic. Freemasonry, Scottish Rite, and Jesuits and Vatican priests. And other priests, like we see in Islam, they wear the dresses as well. And in Hinduism, all of them. Okay? They're wearing dresses, that's Lucifer. Because they're all under another, they got a head controller who's controlling them. The priests, most of the priests are in on it, not all of them. But they follow orders. Oh yeah, I'm talking about orders. You want to talk about orders? Let's find that word. I saw it the other day. Before we get in, I'm almost in the story here. Oh, here it is. Because I was watching a movie about the Civil War documentary.
Yeah.
And just to take a break, just to reflect on some American history for a moment, and how stupid people are to go on the front line, standing like cannon fodder, and being able to walk in a straight line to get shot, and think that's patriotism, when it's stupidity and it's a fool's game. But when I realized, because I'm studying the Indo-Germanic, in the prime root forms now, and remember I talked about the word spider, and the word der at the end is really the Germanic of the word the. And so spider is der spy, and it means the spy. Do you remember that?
Wow. I'm not going to get into it here because we'll be going for another 2 hours, but
Right.
wow,
Well,
you
spider.
just connected some dots.
Yeah, you know why? You can see it, right? Because he's
Yes,
up there
I can.
on the ceiling, and you never
Yes.
look up there to see he's
Yes.
looking down at you, right?
Yes.
He's their spy. He's the spy. So spider. So I just wanted to point out that this is the same in other words. Like, there's other words that are similar in nature, and when
Yeah.
it's got the der at the end, you put it in the front, and you get the hidden word. It's a mystery.
Yeah.
It's cultic. It's what they're doing to play, because they don't want us to know that from ancient time in the original thought, he was simply called their spy, the spy,
Yeah.
up there. So they change it and give it an ambiguous, abstract name called spider.
Yeah.
Spider. It's a game.
What I'm seeing is like the deception is so thorough and ingenious, but at the same time it's a copy. It's unoriginal. It's just they've used the truth and they've copied it and twisted it. Like they can't think of their own. There's no originality. Do you know what I mean? But it's ingenious the way they've done it, hidden it in plain sight.
Science of deception,
Yeah.
and they're good. But Yeshua used them. They are the scapegoat. He knew what they would do, and that's why we're able to back engineer this work.
Yeah.
Because they have their own Achilles heel, and their Achilles heel is their own arrogance and their own boldness to put it in our face. But that they put it in our face means that our face can then see it.
Yeah.
If we are connected, we have to be connected, because I'm not smart enough to unravel this mystery. Yeshua has revealed this to me.
Yeah.
I was never worthy nor smart. Okay, I've been stupid, in fact, most of my life. All right, so if I was smarter, I would have been far further down the road than I am right now. But that's why he gives us the symbolic 40 years in the wilderness, because he's giving us all the time, as much time as we can, get to figure things out. Mine was a unique journey because this information is for all of you wonderful people out there that are decent and that want to do the right thing and don't want to participate in the fraud of deception. And so he uses people like me when I refer to that word star navigator. Obviously, that's what he did to me in this arena. Because I remember being conscious in my mother's womb and sucking my thumb and seeing pink light, and then and having visions throughout my entire adolescent years. So obviously what he did with me was of a dramatic sort, because he has to touch somebody that can get the pictures and then can convey it to other people that don't have the time, and they're too busy, and they're not going to be able to make the sacrifice like I did, not to have a regular job for the last 20 years and live in, take a vow of poverty and not have an automobile since 1996. Not everybody's willing to do that, to be a monk, in modern society. So I've made the sacrifice, and therefore I do have a qualified view, because I've been put to the test over and over in my own arena, and therefore, I give enough substance, as you know, to validate the things we talk about in 5 to 10 different ways.
Definitely.
So when I saw the military, the North and the South, all families, all the North shooting at the South, they're shooting at their own brothers, people who are actually related to them, many of them, many stories about the Civil War, uncivil wars, the war of aggression, the Northern aggression is the real name of the war of Northern aggression, but they called it the Civil War, which is the war between the states. So when I saw them, that and I made the statement, they're following orders. Then I said, then I just had been doing the study on the prime root of the word light, and it's or, but it's an abbreviated term. But the word or is the prime root of the word light, O-R. O for the symbol of the sun, and moon, of course, which is the lesser light, but then the R for the royal, and the P is hiding in the capital R, and the which is therefore the PH for creation. So OR is the prime root of, as you heard me in the beginning of the program say, Zor is light. Azor is the sun, and the Zore is the light, and so that's why we get the the Spanish story of Zorro, because the Zorro.
Oh, okay.
You hear the O,
Yeah.
which is the symbol for the sun, and the Z that he makes with his sword is the lightning strikes, isn't it? And it's the power of the sun, the power. And so they're playing on that theme, you see, but they're not going there, but they're gonna play with it, and that's all they do within their movies and everything. So when I said they were following orders, and all of a sudden I realized what I just said, because I can read. I read now in the Indo-Germanic at the same time, and so orders then is the or, and the or is the light. So when they're told to follow orders, then in the metaphor, they are then following the light. Is that not an irony when they're put on the battlefield to be killed?
Wow.
Following the light. You see the joke?
Yeah.
The truth is they're following the darkness, aren't they?
They are. Yep.
But when you say you're following orders, what you just said was you are following the light.
Wow.
So when I'm told to go beat you up because I'm a jackbooted, fascist, military police state thug, and I'm told to follow orders, I was just told you're following the light, my son. Go follow the light and go kill them now. Yeah. Just like, remember, toilet meant imitation light, right? And you don't want to be awake because you're a funeral, and you don't want to say good morning because you wish somebody would die in your family. All the joke's on us, right?
Yep. Yep.
All the joke's on us. It's non-ending. I'm overwhelmed every time I find the next one. But
I'm overwhelmed right now too, just listening. Wow.
Yeah. The joke is on us. We are the fools in the canary cage,
Yeah.
All right. So I really went off on several different directions. Let me try to get back now. Because now we're going to read Ezekiel. Yeah. Well, we had to qualify the insanity of our world. I got to give several different ways to prove out how they destroyed everything that's around us, from time to our scriptures to the root words, everything.
Yeah.
So this way, I've laid the foundation now, which will hopefully validate what I'm about to share. Because within our scriptures is the story of the fall of the Aryan race. And when we're reading about Adam, it's not just about Adam, but it's also about the Aryan watchers. It's about their story as well, because they had the arrogant knowledge in their mind. It wasn't arrogant knowledge, but the great knowledge in their mind that gave them their arrogance to think that, forget that, let's go hang out with those beautiful women down at the bottom of the mountain there, those redhead spotted, and let's conquer mankind and have a party. And that's what they did. So Adam is the first representative of the story of the fall. But he repented, of course. He was sorry for just being stupid. Whereas what this story represents in the bigger picture is how the Aryan race fell as a whole. Okay, so that's all built within here. And so I'm going to put my phone down and radio check. Am I still coming through okay?
Sorry, you went quiet.
Are you there?
You're a bit harder to hear.
All right, then let me put it back up, because I'm a bit harder to hear. I'll hold the phone. My arm was going to sleep.
Okay, you good?
All
You
right,
good?
there we go.
Just while you're getting organised, the story I'm getting more familiar with, because I listened to the audiobook of the Colburn as I go to sleep, and that part was the last one I listened to. The Aryans falling, the fall of the Watchers. Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
So here we are in Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 1. Again, the message of Yahweh. By the way, I'm reading out of Farah Fenton, but I am transliterating as well, and I will give key points. Vinci, can you just go to a musical interlude? Just give me 2 minutes, and then I'll be right back.
Yeah, I just want to get that chapter off you again as well, so that I can follow.
All right, chapter 28 in Ezekiel, and give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. I will speak when I come back. Okay, leave the phone open and go to your music. All right.
Okay, I've got another flower one.
Whatever you want to do, but give me 2 minutes.
All right, we'll be back in a second, guys. Okay, and we're back. Welcome back, Desert, again.
Right, thank you. Okay, so we're in Ezekiel,
Yep,
in chapter 28. I'm going to go through this, and I've got my notes. Well, you should see my page. I got notes in between the lines on the side, and because there is no perfect translation or transliteration, and therefore one has to be able to see deeply into these texts. And the first key element is to realize that they're not all true, not correct, not complete, and very often misleading. And therefore, knowing the rudimentary stories, the origin of our being, our history, is all relevant to unraveling the mystery that is hiding within our scriptures that have been adulterated by priesthood. And the beauty was that Fenton was close enough, but I was tipped off by Bullinger. Actually, Bullinger, E.W. Bullinger, who wrote practically a dozen books, give or take, an absolute genius. I don't know how he wrote these books, these enormous books he did, but he was the one who directed me. And I saw all my notes. I had all these notes in there already, but then I finally saw it when he referred me back to what I had just read about 6 months ago. Then all the light bulb went off. So in Ezekiel, let me take one more sip of my throat tonic here. And again, the message of Yahweh came to me breathing. And that is Ezekiel. That is Ezekiel. I'll get the phone closer. I realize I put it down again. It says, son of Adam. Now it's interesting that Ezekiel, and he was banished to Babylon with Judah. So that was approximately 500 BC. And he's constantly being referred to by Yahweh as son of Adam, which is noteworthy because it's typifying this Aryan race.
Yeah.
And it was over. Okay, it was over. They were banished to Babylon. And so not only was Israel annihilated, the 10 northern tribes, in 730 BC, but then in 500 approximate BC, then all of Judah and Benjamin and the remaining Levitical priests are banished to Babylon. And it's over. So this is about now a remembrance of what the Aryan race was supposed to be at the center of the earth. That they were not. And only because they were in the fall. But Yeshua ultimately will come through this Aryan race, the Nazarene line, the pure Nazarene, which is the original word for Nazareth. There never was a town called Nazareth. It is the pure Aryan line of the Nazarene. And so he says, son of Adam, which means also son of blood of the earth, or son of creation, also could be said. I proclaim, the word I was left out, but I know who's speaking. I proclaim to the prince of Zur. Now, I learned just the day before I read this, that Tyre, which is mispronounced as Tyre, on the shores of the Mediterranean, which is a teardrop of land that goes out, jumps out into the Mediterranean Sea. And the reason it was called Tyre is because it represented a teardrop into the Mediterranean, which is the remnant Great Flood. It's still there on the map. The Mediterranean Sea is the sea in the middle of the land, which is what Mediterranean means, and it is the tear in the water as a remembrance. Don't forget the Great Flood. That's tear, and it looks like a teardrop. It's curved just like a teardrop, and but here Fenton correctly, and I confirmed this in another. I think it was in Asimov, that tear is a cover word for Zor. And so there it is, because it was just days earlier that I had correctly defined the word for the sun. Remember, I said, ironically, that even in our scriptures, the story of creation, the sun is not mentioned for the first 15 chapters in Genesis. How could that be?
Yeah.
Because they hate the light. They hid the sun from us, you see. Hid the light. And so Zor is Azor, Atzor. There it is, Zoro, the zero. And maybe, there's more that can be possibly said about this. I look at these things and meditate on them, and there's continual progression in the discovery of the original and the Indo-Germanic. But basically, Zor is a tier is Zor, and it's Azor, and that's the word for the sun. And so he says, so what he's really saying is, I proclaim to the prince. Now remember, a prince is not a king. Yeshua is the royal ruler. Yeshua is the king, to use a Canaanite term, king. But Yeshua is the ruler. And therefore a prince is under the ruler, right?
Yes.
The princes are the sons, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
sorry, I'm looking at the book and I'm listening. Yeah. Sorry.
Who is the prince of the sun? Well, the prince of the sun has to be Adam. He was just saying, because we're talking about the Aryan race, so they're all being called Adam. He's being called here son of Adam. Are you following in your scriptures, by the way?
Yeah, I've got it in front of me. But it's I haven't got the Fenton printed out, so I've got the new international version in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it probably doesn't say son of Adam, does it?
No, it says son of man.
Okay, so that's the corruption, because that's moon. That's a code word for the moon, you see. But we're talking about the light. We're talking about the sun, and that's how they tricked us again.
Yeah.
So let me continue. So, son of Adam, I proclaim to the prince of Azor, the sun, the prince of the sun, or the prince of light, seed of light, another way to say it, and say, this is what the one who sees from the fiery eye of the return, Yahweh, breathes, because of the pride of your heart. Because of the pride of your heart. And you're saying, and this is the key statement, I am Elohim. It says here, I am God, but here the word God is a cover for the word Elohim. And so, I am Elohim. Now let's go back to Genesis 3:5. What did Adam say to Eva before he deceived the serpent, who was Adam? He said, no, he knows that if we do this thing, we will not die, because we will be like God. We will be like Elohim.
Wow. And that's what they're flooding everybody with today, like with the law of attraction and all that. Yeah. Oh, wow. Like saying that we can all be gods. Yeah.
Right. Well, the point is this. No, it's not. You see, don't get the misconception here. The point is that we are all supposed to be like stars of heaven, which are Elohim. But we are in the fall of darkness, and we are not Elohim because we are dead and asleep.
Yeah.
When we wake up, we ignite with the light of fire and become Elohim. Do you get the picture?
Yeah, I can see that. Okay. I can see that. I'm just
Then
seeing the other side as well.
God. We have to disassociate from the word God because it's a false narrative.
Yeah. I was using that word because I was referring to the other side, how they're matching it. Yeah.
Elohim means an enlightened one.
Yeah.
And that's what the stars are. They're on fire, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Elohim is not Yahweh. Yahweh is the great spirit of light that ignited all the stars when he breathed into them. Okay? So what we have is Adam has come down into the fall. He is in dense matter, in the form of flesh. And he's not fully, well, he is fully conscious. He has the superior knowledge. And the point I didn't finish making when I said I was looking up words, I was talking about defining the words, and I got on Lotan, then I never got back to the other word I was going to. But you remember how I said that the serpent was more subtle?
Yeah.
All right? Well, I looked up the word subtle, and there it was, the word Azar. Azar. Oh, excuse me. Aram. He was the Aram. That's what it said. It wasn't that he was more subtle. It said in the Hebrew concordance, he's the Aram. Well, that's what Abraham was. See, Abraham, his first name before he became Abraham was Aram. Aram. You see, the Aram, the star ram. The star ram, meaning representing the sun. That's what Brahm represented. Brahm, as in Abraham, Brahm. Here's the word. This is the word Brahm in Abraham. And it means the sun. It's the light. It's the power source. And so Abraham is another archetype of what Adam was, what the Watchers were. You see, it's a repeat story.
Yeah.
And so it's telling the same story over and over in these different character types, in these different images. And so what does it say? That when I looked up the word subtle, the serpent was more subtle. It said he is the Abraham, the same word that Abraham had prior to getting his plural name, Abraham, meaning the breath of the many. The breath of the many. So the serpent wasn't more subtle. The serpent was the Abraham, the star ram. You can't be more powerful than being a star ram. So the serpent, whatever that serpent was, and that's what I'm going to read on Sunday. I'll tell you in Bullinger's words how powerful this thing was, because it's not a serpent, it's not a snake, it's a man. It's a man who fell from the light, who had been up there and had named everything in the creation. Can you imagine? Just as it says, you can go read it today into your own Genesis translation. It said that the Elohim wanted him to name everything to see what he would call him. And then he fell into sleep. And he came down, but he knew who he was. And he knew what he just did. He had named everything in the lower garden that he just fell into. He fell into the lower garden that he was just involved with all of the creation of. And now he's in his garden, the matrix. And in the process, he got a little headstrong because he saw the woman next to him, and he knew that he wanted her, but they were told, if you take from the fruit of the tree of life and death, tree of knowledge, good and evil, whatever you want to call it, you will die. Okay, so it's like having little children with a cookie jar, and say, okay, children, you already know what's going to happen, right? I'm going to put the cookies here on the table in this jar. We just baked them. Don't they smell good? And now I'm going to go, I'm going to leave, and I'll be back in a couple hours. Okay, but don't eat those cookies. What do you think those little kids are going to do, right? They're going to be looking over the edge of the table and saying, hey, look at those cookies. You think we should, right? And so we know what cookies represent, right? Okay?
Yeah.
And so the fruit at the center of the tree, remember, if we are a tree, our androgynous zone is at the center. And symbolically, below our navel is a symbol of the garden within the pubic hair of the body. It's a garden. It's a symbol. It's not a normal covering of fur. We don't have a normal covering of fur. We're naked. But yet we have a symbol that is a reflection of the garden. Why? What does it mean? Because we put clothing on, we never look at it. We're not supposed to, right? When we're private. But yet, is not the garden hidden? Let me ask you something. When did you finally know that you were in the garden and that it was in reference to in the scriptures, Ninja? When did you learn that you were in the garden? When you started listening to my program, maybe?
Yeah, that's very much a possibility. Yes, does it?
Okay. So for over 40 years, the garden has been hidden from you until I shared that knowledge with you, right?
46 years it has been
46
hidden.
years, the garden was hidden from you. Even though you even had the symbol on your body as a female, the males and female, we all have the symbol. Every time we shower, we can't miss it. But yet we never identify with the fruit in the center of the garden. Your body is another archetype of a garden. Isn't it a miracle machine? It's your body, right?
Wow.
It's much a miracle creation as the earth itself, right?
Yeah.
It's another universe.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay? So you see, everything is an image of an image of an image.
Yep.
You've got to be able to read the symbol to get the picture. So the garden was hiding from you all along, even though you've seen it all your life. Out there and privately when you take a shower, and yet you never could identify with it because it was hidden from you.
In plain sight.
Somebody,
Yeah.
denied you the knowledge of who you are, where you are, why you are, and when you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And isn't it great to know the truth?
Yeah. I'm just.
You know? It gives you a chance to pull it now together. Now you have a foundation to build upon. Okay? So in his arrogance, he lied to her. He lied to the woman because he wanted her. And he said, no, if we do this thing, honey, we're not going to die. We're not going to die, okay? We will be like Elohim. What he was saying was, we're going to be like the great Elohim in the sky. And that was the lie, because he didn't, he was just pulling her string, because he was in the flesh.
Yeah.
He had fallen from the light, fallen from a pure spiritual nature, back down into what he was made from in the beginning, which was matter. He was made from the fiery magma, and he was taken up to the throne of the sun, and with Yeshua had been involved with all of creation. Now he comes down with the knowledge as a star ram, and he's going to have to deal with his ego, which became greater than he should have been. And you see, so he said, no, we will be like the Elohim if we do this. You see, but he was told not to. So you see, he defied reason for the animal compulsion. He chose to be a liar, and that's the great irony of the story. It wasn't about the fact that they had intercourse, which was a given that they were going to do that. It was designed for this. You see, that's why they were designed that way, because it was about bringing forth a creation that would serve Yahweh. But in the process, the real fall was that he was willing to lie about it. You see, to deceive her because she was naive. Isn't that an interesting word? Naive.
Yeah. Are you gonna elaborate on?
Oh. Darkness, evening, eve, naive, evening, darkness, right? All in the word.
Yeah.
So she was in the fall. She was in a greater fall than he was because she knew nothing and he knew it all. He was the serpent. He was the Navigator Tlor, the Navigator, the navigator, the star navigator, the star ram. The most powerful of all earthly creation ever made on this planet was Adam, next to Yeshua himself when he came down born of a virgin. You see? Now, Adam was born of a virgin. He was born of the virgin earth. He was placed up into the virgin sun, and then placed down upon the earth with the virgin knowledge of our creation. Continuing. So, and we're still in verse 2. So he said, so let me back up. I'm going to back up and start over. Son of Adam, I proclaim to the prince of Azor, the sun, the prince meaning the seed of light, which is what Jacob means. Yaakov means seed of light, and breathe. This is what the one who sees in the fiery eye of the return, Yahweh, breathes. Because of the pride of your heart and your breathing, it says you're saying, I am Elohim. I sit with the great Elohim in the heart of the cosmic ocean, where it says here, I sit with the gods in the heart of the sea. You see, but that's what it means. In the cosmic sea, I sit with the great Elohim in the cosmic sea. What he's saying in essence is, that guy up there, he and I are one, honey. Okay? He and I are one. And what I tell you, you can count on it. You can take it to the bank, okay? But he just lied to her. Because he was in the fall. He was now down here, where he had to learn how to do battle against ego and the flesh, because he was now being tested. We know Yeshua conquered the flesh. He was tested for 40 days and didn't eat food, and with all the other ego tests that he had. But this guy, he was destined to fall. He was set up, in other words, right? Because he had to be in the fall for the story to unfold that at the end of time 2,000 years ago, Yeshua will come to save us. This was all part of the script. He was fulfilling his role, whether he liked it or not, you see? This is how it was all designed. So, continuing. Yet you are, now let me back up and do it again, because I keep jumping in on commentary. He says, this is what the one who sees in the fiery eye of the return, Yahweh breathes. because of the pride of your heart, and you're saying, I am a God, or I am the great Elohim, like the great Elohim. I sit with the great Elohim in the heart of the cosmic sea. Yet, now listen to this conclusion by Yahweh, yet you are a man. You are a man and not Elohim. Although you have set your heart in the circle of the Elohim, meaning in the center of the sun, because he knew that's where he came from, right? In the circle of the God. It literally said circle here of the God. Are you following, Ninja?
Yes.
All right. However, you are wiser than the focus light of the Elohim. They cannot hide any secrets from you. You see, so what he was just saying here was because he was involved in the creation, and when it said that you are wiser than the focus light of the Elohim, it means that you are wiser than the stars themselves, because he is a superior creation to the stars themselves. You get it?
I do.
The stars are Elohim, but he is Elohim, and he is a superior order, greater than the earth, greater than the stars. In other words, the sun is just a symbol. The sun is just a conduit. It's just another body. It's another house. And so what he's saying is, you are even greater than the stars themselves by your nature. You are wiser. You are a focused light like the Elohim. They cannot hide any secret from you. That's what it says right here. Literally, they cannot hide any secret from you, meaning he knows the secrets of all creation, and that's why they were able to build the great pyramid civilizations around the world, to cut stone like we can't cut today, to build anti-gravity vimanas to fly around the world while they're rowing primitive ships and deceiving the people of the planet. Get the picture?
Wow.
It was the superior knowledge that was the foundation of the Aryan race and the fallen watchers, is what I'm revealing here right now for the first time on planet Earth, okay? Nobody else is telling the story. Nobody. They don't want you to think some invisible creatures with wings on their back flew down and had sex with carnate women. If it were true, it couldn't be done, because the invisible can't mate. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Wow.
That this story is made up. So the invisible creatures with wings on their back that came down and mated with women is the false narrative, because it's about the Aryan race and how they fell from this high plateau with their father Adam, who gave them all the superior knowledge, and then decided to betray mankind rather than to save mankind and enslave him. So, continuing, verse 4. You have made yourself powerful by your sciences and your knowledge, and enriched yourself in treasures of gold and silver. Now that's a metaphor for knowledge. You have traded, in other words, let's use the word sold out, with your many sciences. You have increased your power, you think, and your heart has risen within your power. Therefore, this is what grieves the one who sees in the fiery eye of the return, Yahweh. Because you have set your heart like the heart of the great Elohim, I will bring cruel, tyrannical nations against you, who will draw their swords against you, your fine sciences, and spoil your splendor. Now, Solomon was a representative of that. You see, now we're talking metaphor again, and what was going to happen in the future for his race, right? In the future. That's what it's talking about. And you will sink to death. You have already sank to death with a deadly wound in your heart in this cosmic sea. You will assert before your murderers, I am great Elohim. Yet you will be a man and not great Elohim, to the hand wounding you when he kills you. You will die in contempt. You will die by the hand of a foreigner. For I, the Yahweh, have decreed it. And then it gets into the part that is the main part. That was just the introduction, and I was astonished when I read from the beginning of this chapter, how it led into this. I saw it all for the first time, Ninja, okay? Reading it. It finally opened up. Bullinger was a key for me. There were other geniuses who defy logic on how they could read so much and produce so much in 200 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely astounded.
Yeah,
what they were able to do without typewriters.
I know you're seeing a lot at the moment. Yeah.
Wow. Then the command of Yahweh came to me, being Ezekiel again, and breathed. Came to me breathing. Son of Adam. Secret, it goes back to Adam, and it's still about Adam. And he's the son of Adam. It's about the race of Adam. Rise up a lamentation over this Malach of Azor, this messenger of the sun. Now he's calling him the Malach of Azor, the messenger of the sun, a messenger of light, because he was to come down here to save the rest of mankind, the African, the Orientals, the Cro-Magnon, the Neanderthal, any of the other races that were here, even giants, whoever. All of mankind was to be able to learn about their true nature and to transcend. But instead, that wasn't going to be the case. But there will be a pure line that we see coming down, which came through Enoch, of course, through Seth, through Enoch, through Noah, through Melchizedek, then through Abraham. It came down. The pure line came down. One line, one vein, one vine. And that's the Nazareth. You see, that we hear about when Yeshua came. And that's what the Nazarite priesthood symbolized. It was purely symbolic of this pure line that was still to come down, that did not mix with other races, that stayed pure through the royal priesthood, not the priesthood, but the royal family. So son of Adam, rise up a lamentation over the Malach, the messenger of the sun, the king of Zor, it says here, but it is the Malach of Azor, the royal Malach of Azor, the seed of light that came down, and say to him, this is what breathes the mother, this is what the one who sees in the fiery of the eye, the one who sees in the fiery eye of the return, Yahweh breathes. You, perfect symbol of creation. You, it says here perfect seal, but now I know what it means. Benton got perfect seal, but it means you, the perfect symbol of creation, full of science, meaning knowledge, full of knowledge, and spotless in beauty. That's the Aryan form. See? You were once in the Eden, which is the atom, which is the sun. You were once in the throne of the sun, the Ganun of the great Elohim. Every atom that is precious is as stone, but it represents the atom. Every atom that is precious was fastened within you. You see, he was the first made, the first body, the first created form on earth was Adam. Before anything else was made, he was the archetype, prototype for man on earth. Yeshua was the first atom. Adam was the first Adam, meaning earthly creation, you see. And so then he's taken up to the throne of the sun while all other creation comes, so that which was made first comes last, just like Yeshua, the first made in the universe, is the one who comes last. Same image, same archetype. And so every atom that is precious has been fastened within you. This biology that makes you up, it's ruby, topaz, diamond, beryl, onyx, sapphire, emerald, and opal, in castings of gold. They are made and set in you the day you were born. And you are the cherub, meaning the fiery red sunrise and the fiery red sunset, the cherubim, the red cherry beams. The bright, and here it says the holy protector, but the word holy means bright, the bright protector. In other words, symbol of the sunrise. And sit on the mountain that was sacred to the great Elohim, the mountain of what? The knowledge. You sit on that mountain of knowledge that is sacred to the great Elohim. You walk in the center of the bright flaming jewel. The bright flaming jewel is the earth. And it's also known, the green is known as the emerald fire. That's where we get the Emerald City from in The Wizard of Oz, because everything is green, and it is the emerald fire, the fire produce of the sun that came down as all the plants leaned towards the light to absorb its fire. The atomic energy that continues flowing down that produces oxygen for us to breathe, all working in tandem. And then, continuing, you were perfect in your path from the day of your formation until below yourself the corruptions were formed, till your trade-off filled your breast with extortion and wrong. So, thrown you were from that mountain of the great Elohimic estate. And now he's talking metaphorically. He's not really like he's angry at Adam, but he's talking about what Adam represents as being a physical creation, you see? As being a physical creation. It's now about the conflict of matter from spirit. It's deep. And so what does he say next? And I sent you your guardian spirit from among the bright gems. And so who's the guardian spirit? His counterpart, Keva. She represented the light, the bright nature. The female representing the virgin light of the sun, to give him inspiration, and so that he wouldn't be alone. She then represents that spirit of beauty, of that infinite. And so from your beauty, your heart rose, and so here it is. It says your science corrupted, but this is it. What was his science? Was it not to name everything that was on earth? It said that the Elohim wanted to see what he would call it. And so it's not your science was corrupted, but your words were corrupted. The science of your words were corrupted. Are you getting it, Ninja?
Yes, totally.
It's communication. And that's why, even when I go back to the Indo-Germanic dictionaries, they're still not getting it 100%, and I have to correct the code because they're including the W's and the I's and certain other letters in there, and the B's, and so the code is still being played in the universities where they're giving us these etymological dictionaries because they hid science from us from the beginning. And so what I'm doing with the original thought in sharing these word formations that you're hearing are, as the Indo-Germanic, are the most pure and true and complete that you have ever heard and will ever hear on the planet, because they do not exist in our nature anymore other than within the mind and in the symbol. And in the symbol, like the V versus the B, or the V versus the W, or the Y versus the I, or the A versus the E. These are the tricks that they play, the T versus the D, the duality of the K and the G. All of these are the word art that they have put upon us so that we will never be able to go back home. The objective was never to allow us to have the original thought and the original narrative of the story, and you're getting it here, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Notwithstanding your splendor, I flung you down to the earth. You see, so it's as if he was up in the sun when he fell, but that's the way it's being expressed here. But he was on earth in the lower garden. But what he meant was, that's why I flung you out, because you were matter. So it's a metaphorical expulsion now, because he's saying it in this way because it is material, the material world that is the enemy. It is that causes us to be blind. It was what caused Adam to fall. It was predetermined he would do this. But Yeshua also knew that in the end, he was coming to save mankind. This was all part of the plan. Nothing here by accident. All pre-designed to show the greatness of Yahweh and Yeshua, the great Elohim. You see? And so just one more line and then I'll end it. And so before Malachim, the kings of the earth, I cast you down to show you what you really are. Okay?
This is so different. This like following along with you just proves how much they've messed with it. It was really hard. Like, I was following exactly what you were saying, but it was really hard to follow with my copy of the Bible.
You got lost at one point because it's so weak in its variable translation. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go. You right here we made history on planet Earth. I can virtually guarantee that this account, this true account that you've just heard here today, has never been told correctly before, and this is only part of the story. I will now on Sunday give backup with Bullinger and show that he saw it, but yet he was covert about how he expressed it because he didn't want to have all of his work discredited by the universities and by the Vatican controlling elite. Because so he says it within code words because meaning that instead of using Adam, he uses the word Satan.
Yeah.
Because if he said it with Adam, then they would have went after, they would have destroyed all of his work. So he played the game. He played the game with them, you see. And so I'll reveal this on Sunday. And this is our legacy, that there was one man who was made superior to all others. In other words, let's ask the question, why was that? Why did he have to have all the superior knowledge? What was the meaning of it? Well, what it was, in other words, when Yeshua made nature and all of creation, now he was going to create another entity that would create another universe. And this other universe is what we now see in our modern world as what we call constructs. All of this phony matrix, right? The giant skyscrapers, the political state, the nature of commerce and commercialism and money, which is not money, and the sciences that are not sciences. In other words, they created, with this powerful knowledge, they constructed a world that is beyond the world. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do have questions. Like, I understand. I'm seeing the pit. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, I'm just saying it is their downfall because they had the superior knowledge.
Yeah.
And when you're the cookie jar, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to open it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm understanding all that, but what I'm not understanding is if it was all planned, why was it all planned? Why? Just why?
Well,
why was it planned from the start? What?
Yeah. Okay.
That we have to be here and figure this out and to go home and.
I can answer. You ready?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Because, in other words, what is the prime objective?
Yes.
The prime objective is to create as many numbers as possible in order to, out of the many numbers, to harvest the few that are the true good and decent people that want to go back home to the light, right?
Okay.
Would you agree?
Okay,
you agree with that?
I'm following. Yep.
Okay. So in order to be able to create 7 billion people on a planet, now think about primitive civilizations prior to the Aryan. They lived in huts, right? They lived in huts and caves, right?
Yep.
And then the Aryan comes, and he creates pyramid civilizations around the world.
Yes.
And then the flood occurs. And then after the flood, they reorganize, and they regroup. And then they create a civilization. So in order to have 7 billion people on Earth, you need a support mechanism to go along with it, right?
Yeah.
You cannot have 7 billion people living in huts,
No.
right?
No.
Are you getting your picture?
Yeah.
That you have industry, you have toilet paper, you have medicine, you have entertainment.
Yeah.
You have all the things that are required to keep a civilization growing.
Yeah.
Bigger and bigger and bigger. So the false construct of the Matrix was the mechanism that could allow for a population of 7 billion people to occur, where then there is a giant garden filled with produce, where hopefully a few can be harvested into the eternal realm. That is the true paradise that we want to go to. But it says that few will be saved. But out of that few, there will be a great harvest because there are so many. You see.
Okay.
I don't know if I said that last part correctly, but let me try to rephrase that. That because you have, when it says that few will be saved, but by virtue of the great numbers of people, there will be a lot of people out of that great number that could be saved. In other words, maybe thousands, maybe tens of thousands, hopefully. But out of 7 billion people, it's still less than 1%, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's less than 1,000th of a percent.
Yeah, a lot of people, but a small amount compared to the amount on the planet. Yeah, I'm following.
Yeah. Okay, so it was so they were the scapegoat. They were used. Their own head knowledge was their own arrogance, and so when they fell away from the light, they took their blood oaths. The first were the 200 of them, the Aryan, the first group that came down, and they were, it's in the books of Enoch, and they said that they were gonna, take blood oaths, and if anyone would betray the oath, they'd kill the other. So they were blood oaths of death, and so from that point on, they develop a legacy to hate the light and to despise the light and love the darkness, and that's why the moon is in the darkness and represents their Luciferian occult. You see, it's not about a spirit. The spirits are people. We are spirits, and the dark spirits are these priesthoods and these the wicked, the order takers, the order followers, who when they go into their Freemasonry and say, to their Grand Poobah, and Grand Poobah says to them, "What do you want, my son?" They say, "Oh, Grand Poobah, give me more light." And he gives them more darkness, right?
Yep.
And another phony interpretation of the symbols. Here's another secret, my son. Oh, Grand Poobah, that's so exciting! And they get all caught up in excitement because the Grand Poobah told them a secret. Didn't know the Grand Poobah lied to him one more time because he's going to be used and chewed up and spit out. Maybe he'll make it to the top echelon, but probably not, because most of them are just fallen by the wayside, just used and chewed and spit up. A wonderful secret little occult ritual of darkness. Did I do enough damage here today?
I think so. You did well. You did well, Desert, for our first time back in quite a while. Yeah. It's amazing.
I'm very grateful that I had the ability to get it out. It was good to have a couple delays, because I think it allowed for it to come out in a way that it wouldn't have otherwise. And I'm picturing myself. To wake up to what has been, to have these things revealed to oneself is a profound experience. Because Yeshua is the revealer. And I can be looking at all these things all my life and not see it, and then one day it opens up, and then you can't miss it, and then you don't forget how it came to you and where it came from. It's the will of the Father to reveal. That's why it says also that even if you wanted to know Him, you could not know Him unless He was willing to reveal Himself to you.
Yep.
Think it's true?
Yep, I know that, Desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only way you can have it all open up to you is to purify your heart and your mind and all of your action. And if you purify all of those three aspects of your being, then the universe will open up to you, because it's the divine will. It's a law that all will open up to you, and you will find the true paradise, not in this lower garden of deception and war, but and deception, of hatred, and what can describe it, But there is a true paradise, and it's back at the center of the light, in the throne of the sun, And where we go from there, it's like the 0 point. You know, it's like it then takes you to another dimension outside of this universe. Obviously, wherever the higher place is, it's not in the sun in the literal sense, but it is the true Stargate.
Yeah.
You know, that's the mythology that the Stargate series is playing on.
Yeah.
Because there's one true Stargate, and it is our sun. And wherever we go beyond the sun, back to the spirit, is beyond this universe. It's out of here.
Yeah, because this universe is all physical, all physical.
You can know that, but also because outside, when we look at night, it's all dark.
Yeah.
So it's a void, it's empty.
Yeah.
But there's only these little bits of light that are pointing the way back home, and that's what we become on Earth when we start doing the right thing. And that's what you've been doing, you know, in this operation yourself. You know, so you went through a life of struggle, and you wanted the truth. You recognized it when you heard it, and you made a sacrifice. You got me on the phone here when you're half asleep and 5 in the morning or midnight, 3 in the morning, and you did it.
I'm a bit tired now. Yeah, I've had 2 cups of coffee.
Yeah. So live forever, Ninja. Right?
Thank you. I still. I'll say it again. I think I said it at the start of this as well. I'm pinching myself. I feel. I don't feel worthy. But I'm also humbled and amazed at the same time. Yeah, I just hope I can keep becoming pure enough to get there, to go home, because I don't want to stay down here.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Don't look at it from that standpoint, pure enough. It's not about it's just simply having a pure heart and a pure mind. It's not about volume. It's about attitude.
Yeah.
It's about attitude. And being willing to surrender, and being willing to take abuse instead of give, the abuse that the world gives, and to give thanks even when you're being harmed or abused by others, not to hate them, but to create light for them, to pray for them, and to forgive them. And so, to have that attitude is the secret in the great mystery. It is contrary to the nature of this world, right? To love your enemies, to do good to those who hurt you, all those things that you short thought. That is the alchemy. That creates the transcendence.
Okay, it's all about the turning inwards, and thank you, because I know that I'm getting there. I'm different. I'm completely different to what I was a few years ago. Like, I react differently. Yeah. Because
you're conscious. You're waking up, and you're conscious of who you are, where you are, when you are, and why you are, and what you are doing. You're now sensitive because you woke up to a higher state.
Yeah, I can stay a lot calmer in stressful situations. Yeah.
You already know the nature of things, so you already know the game.
Yeah.
And that it is an illusion, and therefore even death is an illusion.
Wow. I was just thinking about something you said to me the other day, about some new books that you got. You were talking about laughing in the face of death. Like, getting to that point where you can do that, laugh in the face of death. And I could see that the other day, when I was having that really tough day. For those, I'll fill you guys in. Sorry, I'm really, my energy's just suddenly gone. But anyway, the other day, long story short, I'm very alone here. Everybody is against me in my family. and I look after Mum, and professionals and family members of mine are completely against anything I do or suggest. And I had to deal with a family member the other day, and I knew it was going to be really tough. And for the first time in my life, I managed to stay in prayer constantly all day while looking after a mum with dementia and dealing with that family member. And it was that day, Desert, that and I think you spoke to me about being able to laugh in the face of death just before that. I could see that, like I could just see it during that day, like the amount of strength that I had. I was astounded, and I knew that strength didn't come from me. It came from a day of creating light with Yeshua, and and that's wow. So I can see how we can get to the point where we will not fear the death of this physical body when it happens. Yeah.
Well, I think that laughing in the face of death certainly would come when one receives the great breath of the wind and fire, or what we call the Holy Spirit, because prior to that point, we're still in the grave with Yeshua. Yeah. We're buried with him. Yeah. So we're waiting for that proverbial statement, Lazarus, come forth, Lazar, ray of light, come forth. So the beauty is, while we're in the state of death, we can go through the stargate of the water of purification into a covenant relationship with Yeshua, and we're in the grave with him. We're in the tomb, and we're waiting to come forth with the sunrise. So while we're in the grave, we're in the middle zone. That's the wilderness. And in this middle zone, we learn to do battle. We learn to put everything in proper perspective, and we conquer the self. And once we have conquered the self and know that we know that we know, and that's why the followers, even when they were there with him, didn't fully get it.
Yeah.
They were still confused about certain things. And so it was after he rose from the dead and they saw his victory of life and got to hold him and eat with him again in the kingdom, because that's when he said, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine again till I do it new in the kingdom. And that's when he said, you got any fish? Hey, let's eat. And they ate because he rose from the dead, and he was just showing them the true nature of our reality, that this mortality of death that pervades our being is an illusion.
Yeah.
But yet there is something that needs to happen, and that is we have to be clothed with the light, and the light is the invisible, ultraviolet nature of the Spirit. That is the ultimate true light that is beyond the light of the sun. It is the breath of the Yahweh himself, the breath that breathed into a star and ignited it. When it said that the breath, it said spirit, but the breath moved upon the face of the cosmic waters and breathed into the star, and it ignited, and there was light, and there is light. And then this same breath is the breath that wants to breathe in us. How powerful can that be, when we realize that truth? So we're in a covenant relationship, protected in a pure shelter by the light of Yeshua, and he is our tree of knowledge, and the tree of knowledge that we continually eat from him is what then ultimately leads us to the tree of life. It is one tree. It is like the root system of an oak tree is identical to what's above ground, right? What's above ground is what's below ground.
Yeah.
It's like a mirror image. And so the tree of knowledge is above ground, and the tree of life is hiding below ground, and comes to you at the point when you're ready, to get to the root, right? To get to the root is to get to the beginning of all things, and it's getting back to the beginning of creation, when he said, let there be. And then you, for the first time, become a completed creation. And that's why those people, when they went to the lions or were nailed to the crosses and had grease poured, smeared all over them, and they became torches, or like the story of the Cathars, burned to death. they all smiled, and they could not flinch in the face of such torment, because they were not of this world. They were not of this world, and they had the great breath of the wind and fire in them. They served the fire, so the fire did not cause them to flinch. You see, it is a great mystery, but it also shows that this divine love and this higher nature will even prevent us from feeling pain when it comes down to that, crucial moment of our final test. That we can laugh in the, because we'll probably be having a great vision at that moment. Won't even be paying attention to what these thugs are going to do to us.
Wow, I didn't even think of that either. Didn't think of it like that. Cool.
Yeah, it's all the mystery of this world. The Yahweh wants to defy these pieces of garbage that think they're so important on Earth. These secret society members. I just had a thought now, just ran past me. He said greater works we would do. Greater works we would do than he did. Imagine that. What does that mean, right?
What does that mean?
Well, it's an open book. It's an open book. It means you just need to surrender to his way, to his authority, to his power, because he wants to use you somehow in some capacity in the greater picture. It's not his will that anyone perish. Not his will, but it's simply a law of nature, because the lower world is a consumer.
Yeah, it's temporary.
It consumes people.
Yeah.
On the treadmill, on the meat grinder.
Yeah.
Right. So don't forget, if you want to know, you just need to look for the Forbidden History right here with Ninja Cat every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, here in the inferior states of America. What you know, but we tell right here. Right, Ninja?
Yes, does it? Yes.
Right. We'll call it a wrap, and we'll look for Sunday. We hope to be back on. Of course, anything can happen in the meantime, but we're looking towards Sunday, 9:30 a.m. And I just want to thank you for being being there today and helping us to help our friends out with a little bit of a different perspective on our universe and how we got to where we are and where we need to go. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That was amazing. I didn't think we'd go for this long tonight, and it was just, the whole thing was amazing. So,
all right. Well, peace and love for you and to everyone out there. I'm so grateful for our dedicated listeners, and they all know I'm here if they need me. Okay, so and I am back on Skype. So Free America Radio, all one word, Free America Radio. When I turn on my computer, if someone wants to chat with me, I'll respond back when I turn the computer on. Okay, I keep it off, because I'm under persecution over here, and I don't keep it on other than when I'm using it. Okay.
Okie dokie. And all the other contact details are in the description on all of these live streams. So any questions, queries, donations, anything, all the information is there in the description, except for the Skype that Desert just said. Yeah. Okay. I'm all wowed out, Desert. So. Thank you. And I think he's gone. Okay, I couldn't see the phone. Alright, thanks guys for coming. It's been amazing. You've been listening to the Forbidden History Chronicles with Ninja Cat 111 and Dezert-Owl. And love you guys. I've missed this. And we'll be back on Sunday. Okay. See you guys later.
yourself. 2, to log or unlog the conference. 3, to record the conference. 4, force